Escaping My Past by Canadian Momof, narrated by Bookzoro. Before we start, let us know in the comments where you're listening from and what kind of stories you enjoy most. We love hearing from our listeners. Chapter 1. Living the Dream. I start my day early, eager to spend some time alone with my brother. We run together every day, but today we're earlier than normal, since he's going to have some traveling to do afterwards. One of our best friends from when we were just pups is having a commitment ceremony in a nearby pack, and Damon is going as a guest. They invited me as well, but the distance is far enough for it to be undoable for me. Being as small as I am, I don't travel swiftly in either form, so going anywhere takes twice as long. Where Damon will be back in a couple of days, I would need more than a week. Damon is my twin, older than me by 17 minutes. He was born healthy and robust, weighing just under 9 pounds. He was a large baby, and it came at a cost. Me. I followed behind him, but almost as an afterthought. My petite body weighed less than 3 pounds, and I required assistance breathing. From the moment I was brought home from the hospital to now, Damon has always been my guardian. I believe part of him blames himself for how risky my first few months were, but no one else does. I certainly don't. He is my favorite person in the world and by far the better of us. His capacity for love and compassion is boundless, and someday he is going to make his mate exceptionally happy. Damon is still a large specimen, now over 6 feet and nearly as wide. He has been training as a warrior for years now, which has translated into big muscles and abs of steel. He's my brother, so I can't say I really noticed, but over the years, having so many other she-wolves trying to get on my good side has told me otherwise. I throw my hair into a simple ponytail, dressed in bike shorts and a tank. I leave my room and head down the hall to the stairs, knocking on Damon's door as I pass. He gives me a shout, so I know he's up and head downstairs to wait for him. Mom pours me a glass of juice that I barely touch when Damon enters the kitchen. He has clearly thrown on whatever was laying on the floor because everything is wrinkled and his shirt has sauce stains on it. Mom makes a noise of annoyance while rolling her eyes in jest, fully used to the slob my brother is. He gulps down some juice as well. Then we head outside. Our yard faces the forest out back, so it is a short walk to the tree line. We duck inside and undress, keeping our backs to each other so there's no embarrassing moments. Within seconds, the sounds of our bodies contorting and converting echo through the trees, to be replaced by the joyous howls of our wolves taking control. Damon's wolf. Kenner takes the lead with me and Malin chasing closely behind. He runs fast but maintains a speed I can match, allowing us to run side by side. Kenner and Malin are mirror reflections of one another, nearly identical but unique. Kenner is a darker shade of blonde, and he has a large patch of blonde on his right side. Malin is lighter and has a patch of brown on her left side. Despite Damon and I being fraternal, there is no doubting we're related. His blonde hair is darker than mine, but we share the same green eyes we inherited from our dad. Malin, like most wolves, loves to run and play in the woods. Our petite size makes it dangerous for us to venture near the border, so we only go for runs when Dad or Damon are available to come with us. It makes everyone breathe easier knowing I'm not on my own, and Malin likes the company, so everyone wins. Kenner is just as protective of Malin as Damon is of me. He stays close to Malin, allowing her plenty of playtime as well as some wrestling, always following her lead. Wrestling is something Malin especially enjoys because it is an opportunity to exercise her wild side. We don't participate in warrior training as there are no opponents our size, and in battle, She is simply not a competitor. We were disappointed when we first learned that there were always going to be obstacles in our plans, but knowing that we can work with those limitations. The time to end our fun comes far too soon, but I know 𝒍💂 needs to get moving. He and Kenner have a full day of running ahead of them, so I'm extra grateful my brother made time for me before leaving. We make our way back to our clothes and redress, again giving one another the appropriate privacy. As we walk toward the house, 𝒍💂 throws his arm over my shoulder and pulls me close. "I'm going to miss you, Nugget," he says into the top of my head as he gives me a kiss. I hug him back just as tightly but don't say anything in case I start crying. He's only going to be gone a couple of days, but we've never been apart before, and I'm already dreading it. Malin is whimpering quietly, her connection to Kenner as close as 𝒍💂 and me. We enter the house to delicious aromas wafting throughout, and the sounds of Mom and Dad in the kitchen. We wash up before sitting at the table and diving in, enjoying this quiet time together as a family. Mom has outdone herself as she always does, ensuring our wolves get their fill. There are eggs for me, but pancakes for Dad, and so much bacon, sausage, and ham, you could easily make a meal of just meat. Easy conversation flows between mouthfuls, excitement for 𝒍💂's trip being the dominant topic. This is the furthest he's ever gone on his own, so while he's anxious, he's also thrilled. I know he's also hopeful that he'll find his mate while visiting, since we both know with confidence that our other halves are not in our pack. I'm secretly keeping my fingers crossed that everything works out the way he is hoping it will. He deserves it. Once breakfast is done, I help Mom clean off the table and load the dishwasher. 𝒍💂 gives us all hugs and kisses before leaving on his trip, eager to get underway. I manage to keep my tears contained until he leaves, then turn to my dad's embrace. I knew it was going to be hard seeing him leave, but I'm surprised by the hollowness his absence leaves in me. Dad indulges me until I catch my breath, surprised by my strong reaction. Once everything is cleaned up, I head upstairs to take a quick shower. My room isn't large, but it does have an attached bath I share with 𝒍💂. My sanctuary is in the turret portion of the second floor, which means lots of unusual angles and corners, but I love it. Likely half the size of the one 𝒍💂 occupies, but it is unique, and it's mine. My bed is centered in the curved windows with a white canopy of lace hanging from above. My clothes are overflowing my small closet and drawers, but it is still neat and clean. 𝒍💂's room needs a bulldozer to get everything off the floor. After my shower, I braid my hair into a single pleat down my back to ensure it'll stay out of my way. I don't worry about makeup because I know I'll be sweating soon enough, and nobody wants to see my mascara running down my face in streaks. I head back downstairs and find Dad in his chair, listening to the stereo. He is a huge fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber and enjoys endless hours of simply sitting and listening. I've become a fan as well, but not to the same degree Dad is. I give him a kiss on his cheek before turning to give Mom a quick hug. I place a large, slurpy, loud kiss on Mom's cheek, which earns me her bountiful giggle and laugh. I tell them I'll be back by dinner and head out the door. Chapter 2. Living in Utopia. As I leave the house, I share a wave with our neighbors. They're a newly mated pair who are eagerly welcoming their first pup. They were lucky enough to find one another in our pack, never experiencing the loneliness of the search. On the other side, our elderly neighbors are working in their yard, ensuring the blooms are always showing their best. Their hollyhocks are the most impressive, and I would swear they are more spectacular each year. The walk to the pack house only takes a few minutes, and I meet several pack members along the way. I don't know everyone's name, but everyone knows me and are happy to greet me. Being the runt in a pack is usually a death sentence, being seen as a drain or weakness of the pack. Thankfully, I was born in the Clear Falls pack, where everyone is welcome, treasured and valued, regardless of any perceived disabilities. Growing up, some kids would tease me or make fun of me, but Damon was never far away and learned early how to throw a punch. After a few incidents, I became more accepted, and over the years, it has only improved. I don't doubt my place in my pack, and I'm happy to do whatever I can to help and support it. Part of that is working in the kitchens. The pack house features a main kitchen for the majority of cooking, but there is a separate area for cold prep, usually meat. There is another area entirely for fresh, salads and the like. Every area has its own recipes to follow and designated menu requirements with the staff, consisting of anyone who wants to contribute. No one is forced to work anywhere they don't want to be, and no one is looked down upon for whatever task they do. Some wash dishes, others do lawn care, while others assist with cleaning or laundry. Everyone has something to give, and it's a great environment for finding where your skills lie. I love cooking, especially experimenting with a variety of ingredients to discover where they lead me. More times than not, I make something awful and foul, but I did find success with my blood orange loaf with marmalade spread. I made it once, and it was hugely popular with the pack, so now it is something I make whenever I can. Today, I'm with Phoebe, Gwen, and Kurt. Kurt is in the cold room slicing the meats for that week. Pork chops, steaks, ribs, and roasts. Gwen is working on slicing the components for various salads, not just fresh or tossed, but also pasta and others. I stay in the main part of the kitchen with Phoebe, and our task for today is baking the breads and muffins for the week. With so many pack members to feed, everything is done in multiples to ensure no one is left hungry. I start off with the batter for the loaf, using 3 countertop mixers to make enough. While they stir my ingredients, I line my pans in preparation for the oven. Once that is done, I make quick work slicing the oranges into slivers, which will be inserted into the batter prior to baking. Phoebe and I chat here and there, providing help when needed and companionship regardless. She is elbow deep in a large ball of dough, her strong arms pulling and stretching. Phoebe is around my mom's age and has always worked in the kitchens, many of the pack's favorite recipes being her creations. It isn't long before I am putting the first batch into the ovens and setting the timers so they don't burn. I move by Phoebe and start dividing the finished dough into the waiting pans, ready for the oven. She continues mixing, the two of us working together in a comfortable rhythm. Being shifters, we have heightened senses of smell, so it isn't long before wolves start drifting into the kitchen, looking for a treat. Phoebe never turns a wolf away, and in the midst of the chaos is a small table surrounded by shifters indulging in warm, fresh bread. My blood orange marmalade is used in addition to the butters, jams, and other spreads, and it isn't long before 6 loaves are gone. Phoebe takes it all in stride, feeling the pride and appreciation of the pack for her hard work. Gwen joins us for a brief coffee break, the 3 of us sitting on the back porch. The ovens are all full of baking bread and buns, with at least 2 more batches still to go. Gwen and Phoebe sip their drinks quickly, and I finish my juice in no time, so we head back to work. My loaves are finished and just need to cool before I put the marmalade spread on, so I resume helping Phoebe with the dough. It isn't long before the first batch is ready to come out, and the next one is going in. The building's air conditioning is running, but it can't compete with the heat of the ovens all going at once. The kitchen is stifling, and I have a trickle of sweat making its way down my back. Phoebe's face is a brilliant shade of red, but it doesn't slow her down. Her hands moving and maneuvering the dough with the ease that comes with experience. The day passes quickly, and I am kept busy throughout. The last batch of buns and bread are in the ovens, so we work efficiently together to clean the kitchen. Despite our best intentions, there is always random flour that somehow ends up all over the place. Phoebe laughs when I pull the mixers out of their spots. Perfect little indents from their feet in the flour. Kurt is nearly finished next door and is hosing the room down, while Gwen finished a short while ago and has already left for home. The sun is dipping low on the horizon, the sky awash with spectacular shades of pink and orange. I step out briefly to use the bathroom and am pleased that the smell of fresh bread has made its way throughout the pack house. There are wolves scattered all over, eagerly awaiting that evening's dinner. I return to the kitchen to help finish up before I head home for dinner. Damon has never left home before, so I know Mom and Dad are going to be missing him too, so some family time sounds perfect to me. I get down onto my knees to ensure we reach and clean under the cupboards, not wanting to invite mice into our space. There are a couple small chunks of dough here and there, but they clean up easily. While on the floor, there is an emergency alarm sent out to all of the shifters of Clear Falls. It is the voice of our alpha, and he warns we're under attack. While he speaks, there are screams and shouts in the distance, fright and panic already weaving through the pack. Kurt races into the kitchen where Phoebe and I are, and takes up a defensive position near the back door. Other males take up positions throughout the pack house, while still others leave to fight. She-wolves race into the pack house with their pups, all heading to the safe room in the basement. The elderly and disabled who reach the pack house are assisted where possible to ensure they get into the basement as well, and within minutes the majority of the pack is locked down. Phoebe grabs me by the arm and pulls me upright, trying to urge me to the safe room. Before we take more than a step or two, the pungent stink of freshly spilled blood begins drifting through the pack house, overwhelming even the bread smells. With terror on her face, Phoebe orders me to shift, and Malin doesn't hesitate, taking control immediately. She opens one of the stainless steel cabinets and pushes Malin inside, where she takes refuge behind some soup pots. As a runt, my size isn't the only thing that is reduced. My scent is too. My family have no difficulty following my trail, but even now, some pack members still struggle. It has always been a fun lesson for the pups as they learn to track, and it took away any stigma I might have experienced otherwise. Phoebe closes us in the cupboard, and I can hear her step away back into the main part of the kitchen. We hear her making noises, but can't discern what she is doing. Far too soon we hear the sounds of ferocious snarls and growls just outside the pack house, literally on the other side of the wall we're hiding against. There are other sounds too, ones that make Malin close her eyes with repressed sorrow and terror. The back door smashes open, and we hear the clear patter of numerous wolf paws pounding across the porch we just had a break on. Kurt shouts a warning to everyone in the pack house before he goes silent, not making any sounds at all. Moments later, the chaos comes into the kitchen, and amidst the sounds of breaking dishes and scattering silverware, we hear the whimpers of our dear friend. It takes us far too long to realize what the intruders are doing to Phoebe, her she-wolf howling in the mind link for someone, anyone, to come help her. We try to block the noises coming from only feet away, and instead focus on the mind link, horrified to realize how many of my pack members are no longer active. Desperately, we try to reach Mom and Dad, but receive nothing in return. What feels like hours later, we hear Phoebe cry out before making a soft, gurgling sound. We hear her gasp for air before going silent. and know instinctively that our friend is dead. There is more banging as cupboards are opened and their contents emptied onto the floor. The crashing of the plates and glasses is nearly overwhelming, like sharp shards of sound and piercing my brain. Malin struggles to not share in the sorrow we can sense all around us, as the shouts and screams turn into mournful howls of agony. The howls are isolated, each one reaching out to someone else in the pack only to be met with silence in return. The quiet permeates my very soul and covers me like a cloak, drowning me in twisting folds of horror. Chapter 3. When Utopia Becomes a Nightmare. For a long while we detect other wolves still in the area and can tell they're going through drawers and cabinets in rooms throughout the pack house. It is impossible to tell if they're looking for something in particular or simply things to steal, but they take their time being thorough. Malin is growing increasingly uncomfortable, the small space we're hiding in feeling more claustrophobic by the minute. We hear footsteps walking through the kitchen and the sounds of the attackers eating our fresh wares. Malin keeps her eyes closed and breath shallow to try to be as invisible as possible, giving away no indication of our existence. Hours later, the sounds disappear into the trees, and the scent of strangers begins to lift. Not feeling confident, Malin continues to stay hidden for many hours more. During our quiet solitude, the normal noises of the forest start to resume, birds chirping and squirrels chittering. It feels like we're hiding in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by the wild and with civilization many miles away. Instead, the horrifying reality is that we're home, and while there should be dozens of shifters going about their day, there is nothing. Moving slowly and quietly, Malin moves herself toward the magnetically closed cabinet door and gives it a shove with her head, popping it open. The sound is minute, and no one comes running, so we take it as a positive sign that the evil has left our packlands. As soon as Malin steps out of the cabinet, the stench of blood hits her like a fist and causes her to vomit violently. It takes several minutes of dry heaving and deep breathing to get the nerves together to move further out. It only takes seconds to see the bodies scattered throughout, my fellow pack members' bodies laying motionless. Malin gives me control and I race to Phoebe, hopeful I can still save her. Her clothes are torn and disturbed, the marks of a struggle evident everywhere. I can't contain the sob of heartache that pushes itself out of me, knowing how mistreated she had been, knowing how awful her last moments were. Her eyes are staring emptily at the ceiling and her throat has been torn out. I pull her skirt down and fold the torn material back over her, in an effort to give her the dignity and respect denied to her in death. While I want to collapse and simply stop existing, I instead turn toward the back entryway. It is clear that Kurt and another wolf fought ferociously, trying to keep the invaders out but were no match for their opposition. I close my eyes immediately, not wanting to see the horror that is left of him. I rest my hands on the island, fighting to keep my eyes open and not lose consciousness. When I'm able, I proceed through the rest of the pack house main floor. I step lightly, my body naked and feet bare from my shift. 3 of the young she-wolves who work for the Alpha and Luna are piled together next to the stairs, but I don't go up, already confident that my Alpha has been killed. The pack mind link has been destroyed. One moment it was filled with pleas for help and mournful wails to now being an empty void. I try to not focus too much on the fact that I can't reach my parents, still hopeful that some of my pack members manage to escape. I reach the front door of the pack house and open it slowly. The lawn and surrounding area are soaked in blood, the life essence of my pack ripped viciously from them. Surely, in order to preserve my sanity, Malin blunts many of my senses. allowing me to continue. Without her support, I'm sure I would have collapsed and surrendered to the fates. Instead, I trudge on, slowly weaving my way towards my home. A quick look confirms that the elderly couple next door didn't make it to the safe room, dying together on their front lawn. Their tools and unplanted flowers lay scattered about, to be forever forgotten. On my other side, the young she-wolf is lying in a similarly disturbed state, her treatment much the same as Phoebe. Her mate is nowhere to be seen, likely having left to fight. As I reach our family home, it no longer looks like the sanctuary it has always been. The windows appear dark, like closed eyelids. The front light isn't on, nor is anything inside the house. Only the sounds of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Evermore Without You can be heard, playing to a silent audience. I smell the foul aroma of burning food mixed with the overpowering metallic taste of blood. I'm shaking as I push open the front door, only to be met with my worst nightmare. Dad clearly put up a fight when they came in, but was unable to keep them both safe, being slaughtered just inside the front door. The room has been trashed, evidence of a desperate fight to live. Following the burning scent, I enter the kitchen and see that Mom's dinner has been ruined. The potatoes have boiled dry and are now burnt onto the bottom of the pan, and the steaks in the oven are smoking profusely as they turn into charcoal. There is a bowl of cookie dough on the counter, telling me Mom was interrupted mid-task. The mix is oatmeal raisin, which is my favorite, likely to put a smile on my face while Damon is away. Sprawled across our family table, my mom lays unmoving. I move to her side, needing to feel her touch once more. I do my best to ignore the trauma and violation she was exposed to, instead focusing on her hands, which still have oil on them from lining the pans. I take one hand in mine, closing my eyes to try and fool myself into believing everything is normal. Mom's hand lays limp in mine, and I caress the back of it, begging and pleading for her to come back to me. I want to surrender to the hysterics brewing in my heart, but know that this is no longer my home, no longer my safe place. I can't stay here in case the monsters return, and there is no longer anything here for me to remain for. I cover her the best I can, giving her some discretion. I consider leaving a note for Damon to let him know I'm still alive, but decide against it, in case one of the enemy finds it first. For me, safety is going to come from no one knowing I've survived. The thoroughness they showed while eliminating my pack warns me that I'm not safe here, and I don't want anyone looking for me. I say a silent prayer for my parents, thanking them for being the wonderful people they were, and for loving me as much as they did. There are many more sentiments I want to express, but force myself to put them aside, as Malin begins urging me to leave. I kiss Mom's cheek before turning away, leaving the house through the back door. I move swiftly but silently to the trees before hiding myself amongst them, concerned about any stragglers remaining for security. I give in to Malin, and we shift back into her form, desperately needing to put as much distance between us and what used to be home. We resist the temptation to look back, knowing that nothing is the way it should be. Malin takes off at her fastest speed, racing towards the border. I know there is nothing on the other side that is going to provide us safety or sanctuary, since only rogues roam that territory, but I also know that I can't stay here. It takes us a couple of hours to reach the far border, and it is with a physical shudder that we leave Clear Falls territory. Malin continually reaches out, desperate to connect with anyone from our pack, but the silence remains consistent. We run for hours more, not stopping until the next evening. We find a small stream which provides valuable hydration, and after that, Malin goes hunting and manages to catch a small rabbit which fills our belly. The scents and sounds of the forest have always been a source of comfort for us, but now it seems like every noise is the enemy coming back, every strange smell a fresh nightmare. Malin concedes to me, and I awkwardly climb a neighboring tree, seeking safety in the high branches. I rest my back against the trunk of the tree while spreading my legs over two branches to help prevent me tipping over in my sleep. While my body is exhausted, my brain refuses to stop reliving every moment of the invasion over and over again. The sounds, the smells, and the sights will haunt me until the day I die, never to be forgotten or erased. Eventually, my brain surrenders to the current reality we're in and the need to put my grief aside until later. It would be easy to let the sorrow take over, to just lay down and let the pain leave forever, but I can't do that. It feels like the biggest insult to the good shifters I just left behind, all of whom fought to their last breath. I have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring, but the choice will be simple. Keep moving and fight to survive, or surrender to the overwhelming sorrow threatening to destroy me. My eyes drift closed and I seek the comfort and reassurance of the forest. The breeze is light, ruffling the hair that has fallen loose of my braid, and the sky is clear, the stars shining bright against the black velvet. I say a prayer to the moon goddess to embrace my packmates and family before allowing the night to take me. Chapter 4. Absence of Normality. My first night's sleep is not restful or relaxing, each forest noise sounding like violence. Creaks or cracks will forever be the sound of breaking bones. The wind whistling through the leaves is the never-ending cries of my pack, and the nearby creek's soft swishes draw to mind the very life dripping out of my pack, steady and never ceasing. With an aching heart, I watch the sun rise above the treetops, slowly warming the earth. The forest around me comes to life, with chittering birds and chattering rodents, tiny pattering paws and rustling in the grasses and leaves as creatures go about their day. They all give me a wide berth, surely able to detect Malin within me. I sit still and quietly, not sure what is going to happen next or what I'm even supposed to do. My pack is gone, any survivors having scattered to far reaches and beyond. I am reassured that Damon wasn't home when we were attacked, ensuring he was spared. My heart breaks for him, knowing how devastated he is going to be when he finds out what happened at Clear Falls. Even if it means never seeing one another again, I'll always be grateful knowing he lives on. I have been loved and appreciated by my pack despite my size and limitations, no one resenting me or mistreating me beyond childhood. Our alpha ensured everyone was treated equal and treasured for their contributions, whether it was walking patrols or cleaning toilets. Some packs are not as tolerant or forgiving of weaker members of the pack, which can include runts like me. If I were any other shifter, I could approach a neighboring territory and ask for refuge, and I don't imagine any pack would turn away a survivor of the massacre, but some shifters will never see beyond my small stature. I will be perceived to be a burden or non-contributor, and in some packs that is unacceptable. Even if I were allowed to stay, the treatment wouldn't likely be kind, and it would never be home. The day passes slowly, with me lost in thought for the most of it. Malin maintains vigilance on our behalf, allowing me to indulge in my heartache. Silently, I gasp for oxygen, unable to prevent the panic attack threatening to overcome me. My body begins to vibrate, causing the branches under me to shake slightly, their leaves rustling. A nearby squirrel screams his displeasure at me, and the disruption I'm causing, but I'm unable to stop. When air finally enters my lungs, an unearthly howl of misery, pain, and loss escapes me. It starts soft but grows to chest-aching volume, the sorrow overwhelming me emotionally and physically. "Boo-hoo!" Malin cries, the loss of our family and pack breaking her heart. I feel her agony, and I know she feels mine, neither of us able to contain ourselves. I wrap my arms around myself in semblance of an embrace and allow myself to wail uncontrollably. I'm unable to worry about how much noise I'm making, my entire body overtaken by grief. The sobbing continues unabated for quite some time, eventually tapering off as I grow mentally weary. There are days of crying yet to be done, but I can't afford to indulge anymore right now. I'm not safe and I'm not prepared. With nowhere else to go, I am going to have to live a life of isolation. The woods are my home now, and I can't afford to spend another day wallowing in my misery. Like a box filled with painful treasure, I put my grief aside for a later day. I can't save my parents or bring them back, but I can do them proud by surviving this nightmare and beginning my new future, whatever form it is going to take. I wait until the sun dips low in the sky, the air growing cooler as the heat disappears over the horizon. I don't move for a long time after darkness settles, ensuring Malin and I are comfortable with the noises around us. I take a deep inhalation, ensuring there are no unwanted or unexpected scents on the wind before carefully climbing down to the ground. I squat in place, taking the time to reassure myself that I'm alone. I walk the short distance to the creek and dive in, desperate to wash myself clean. My bare feet still bear the stains of the bloodshed, and there are splashes and smears of blood on my arms and torso. I don't remember touching anything, so can't make sense of it all, but don't fixate on it, not wanting to relive any part of it. I don't have proper shampoo, but find a native plant that can substitute and scrub myself viciously with a handful of pebbles, anxious to remove the visual stain on my soul. Once I'm confident I'm as clean as I can be, I let Malin take over and have her own bath time. She loves the water and would normally play, dive, and chase fish, but knows we don't have the time for fun. She focuses on thoroughly cleaning her fur, eliminating all traces of the carnage at home. The water is discolored after we're done, the area immediately around us saturated with dried blood and mud. When she's done, she quietly crawls out of the creek. A thorough scent search reassures us both that there is no danger nearby, but we choose to leave the area all the same. Staying in one spot too long feels like waiting for capture, and until we know more about who murdered everyone we know and love, nowhere is safe. No one is safe. Chapter 5. Normality is what you make of it. Over the next 4 nights, Malin and I continue our trek. We stay in her form as it is easier to hunt, and we need the warmth at night. Every foot we've managed has taken us higher in the mountain lowlands where the day shines bright and warm, but the nights are dark and cool. When the season changes, the nights will become an issue of survival, so I need to start thinking ahead. The trees and shrubs around us start to change as we climb in altitude, coming across a small cache of berries. Malin seeds to me as my fingers make harvesting the fruit easier. I eat everything I can, then let Malin take over again so she can find something to nourish her body. She manages to easily gobble up a couple of voles, but misses out on the rabbit she was really hoping for. Her stomach is still rumbling when the sun starts to peek over the horizon, announcing the start of a new day. We rummage around and find an abandoned fox den, the small entrance keeping out anyone who would be a threat to us. Malin crawls in on her belly, unable to stand in the confined space. We move to the rear of the den, as far from the entrance as we can. The chances of a predator picking up our scent is remote, but not an impossibility, so the restrictive front entrance is even more reassuring. Malin crawls on, exploring the full extent of the den, and confirming the location of the rear emergency exit. The back opens into a steep drop with rocks and boulders below, ensuring we're as safe as we can be. We spend the heat of the day sleeping soundly underground, the forest alive and active above us. We've been traveling through the night, resting during the day to reduce the chances of encountering an enemy. At this point, I no longer know with certainty who the enemies are. I've always known about the wild wolves, rogues, trees, cougars, and badgers that live in our trees, but now I'm unable to trust any shifter I encounter. Will they be kind? Or far more likely, will they see me as nothing more than a burdensome runt? Will they invite me to join their pack, or kill me where I stand? Are they hunting down everyone from my pack so they'll kill me regardless? My head spins with the different possibilities, all leading to the same place. My home is gone. My family is gone, and any chance of redemption or welcome will be forever seen with suspicion. I lost everything that day, including my trust and belief in the goodness of others. My fear and doubt will keep me isolated for the rest of my days. Even though I know there are still good wolves out there, I simply can't entertain a future where I am able to love and live freely. We only stay in the den for 2 days, catching up on some much-needed rest after the emotional turmoil of the attack. When night approaches, Malin leaves by the rear entrance and we disappear down the rocks into the trees below. We find a small stream, flowing rapidly in the heart of the woods. Malin maintains a steady pace along the edge of the water, making good time while leaving paw prints that disappear as the water moves. We run until the birds start chirping their morning songs, then find a large wild rose to seek refuge under. Again, the space is cramped but staying low. Malin is able to make herself comfortable while out of reach of anyone on the outside. The half-inch thorns will deter anyone looking for an easy snack, so feeling as safe as is possible in our situation. Malin's eyes close gently as she gives in to her exhaustion. During the heat of the afternoon, Malin awakens us with silent concern. We can scent them before we see them, the rogues reeking of trash or rotten eggs. They are in their wolf form, fur ragged with bare patches scattered across their bodies. None look healthy or well, clearly having been on their own for too long. A wolf without a pack is prone to going feral, not having companionship or security leading them to paranoia and violence. While our vantage point only provided a view of their lower halves, the way they moved also demonstrated their pending lunacy. They growl at one another, not wanting to be together, but in some level knowing they should be. They snap at each other violently, ripping further fur from their disheveled bodies. Their snouts scour the ground, eagerly seeking food. One of them sniffs a path that leads straight to where Malin is hiding, his desperation causing him to repeatedly reach his face into the shrub. I'm stunned he is able to detect us, as none of the rest of them give any indication they know we're here. He digs at the ground, trying to make a deeper opening. He thrusts his head in repeatedly, snapping blindly in the hopes of connecting with prey. Malin pushes herself further back, ensuring a safe distance between her and the rogue. There is a large tree at her back, preventing her from moving anymore. The rogue continues his barrage when a second one comes over, eager to see if there is food to be had. They both dig at the ground, and the space under the rosebush quickly grows larger, allowing them to reach further and further each time they try. With no options, Malin turns around and races out from under the bush. The two continue digging, unaware that we've left, but another of the threats sees us leave and gives chase. Once he starts running, the rest follow suit. Malin is small and fast, but there is no outrunning fully grown wolves. We're also too small to be effective in a fight, so if they catch us, they'll likely make us beg for death before they finish with us. Knowing this, Damon has always encouraged us to take advantage of our strengths, training me with these detriments in mind. Malin races to the side of the valley, the loose rocks making footing dangerous and difficult. Every step she takes sends a cascade of pebbles rolling down the incline, and her petite size allows her to move forward with greater speed than our pursuers. They persist, avoiding the rocks that she knocks down, but soon lose interest as she continues to climb. When Malin finally stops, we're several meters up the side of the mountain. She continues to move up since going down would likely mean falling, and there's no point in going back as the rogues are still in the area. Within minutes we come to a small plateau, flat but rich with trees and bushes. The trauma of the rogues encourages us to find a small nook between two rocks, and we tuck in as tightly as possible, needing to rest and wait out the rest of the day before we move again. Tonight will mean another night of walking in the dark, hunting to stay alive, and simply existing. Tonight, tomorrow, the day after, there is nothing else for us and nowhere else for us to be. If we die tonight, no one will know. No one will cry, and no one will mourn. If we die tonight, we take the horrors of what happened to our pack with us. Will others ever know of what happened to us? Will anyone ever be held accountable? If we die tonight, will the bastards that destroyed everything get away with it? Will they not be punished for the violence they committed on the innocent? Will they not be punished for the violence they committed on the innocent? Will they not be punished for the violence they committed on the innocent? This is not something I can even think about. No punishment being issued to the monsters who eliminated my pack. Why stop at one pack when you can keep doing it again and again without worry? It is intolerable to me to imagine them not receiving a death sentence simply because there was no one able to speak out. I can speak out, and I will speak out. They will die for what they've done! Chapter 6. A New Existence. We stay in Malin's form except for a few occasions, like when I needed to bathe, or we found some berries requiring finger dexterity. Malin's heightened senses surpass my own, and we're faster on 4 legs than 2. Minor injuries are also quicker to heal, Malin's inner strength persistently keeping us as well as possible. As the days turn into weeks, Malin keeps walking forward, knowing there is nothing for us to return to. We sleep mostly underground or within the safe brambles of thorny bushes, Malin's fur helping us maintain our body temperature during the cooling nights. While walking under the moonlight several weeks in, we pick up the scent of a black bear. Bears and wolves tend to avoid one another, unless scavenging, and Malin is not built to fight a fully grown bear. The scent tells us it is a female, but that's all we're able to interpret. The bear is moving slowly, but progressing on her way, stopping to partake in every food opportunity she comes across. The weather has been cooling drastically in recent days, which tells me that winter is soon coming. We didn't get blizzards or heavy snowfall typically where Clear Falls was, but I know we're higher in the mountains than we used to be, which will mean a harsher winter. Malin quietly begins to follow the bear, maintaining a safe and non-threatening distance to avoid upsetting her. The bear's scent is strong, the smell traveling on the wind for kilometers. Predators will avoid her, no one eager to fight an angry bear, and by hiding within her scent shield, Malin and I are invisible. Our routine changes somewhat, as the bear prefers traveling by the sun, busiest at dawn and dusk. We sleep during the heat of the day, but otherwise forage endlessly, not only to survive, but in preparation of the weather soon to come. We follow the bear day after day, both of us putting on weight. By watching her, Malin learns the best ways to catch salmon swimming in the shallow streams. We're forced to stay a long way upstream from her and the other bears, but we still manage to get our fill. We learn which mushrooms are safe, and more about the plants and fruits we grew up with. As the season passes far too quickly, the leaves begin to change and drop. The fruit supply disappears, and 𝒉𝒁 is forced to rely more on her own hunting for sustenance. In the blink of an eye, the snow starts to fall, fluffy, large, and blindingly white. Higher in the peaks, there will be far more snowfall than what we'll experience, but as the snow begins to stick where it falls, 𝒉𝒁 knows we are going to need to find somewhere safe and warm. The bear retreats into a deep den, and I know I won't be seeing her again until the spring. The snow continues to fall throughout the day and night, slowly building into small drifts and piles. 𝒉𝒁 wastes no time, hunting the area as thoroughly as possible. We claim an abandoned den and stockpile 𝒉𝒁's successes, the cold keeping the carcasses from rotting. There is a brief reprieve in the weather, so we spend the quiet traveling further from the den in order to ensure we don't overhunt any one area. By the time we consider ourselves as prepared as we can be for winter, we too retreat underground. Unlike the bear who never pokes her head out, 𝒉𝒁 takes advantage of every break in the weather to hunt and maintain our stores. Some days we're unable to leave the den because of the storms that rage on these mountainsides, while other days shine bright and clear. We maintain a steady awareness of everything happening in our area of the forest, needing to remain extra vigilant while the bear hibernates. The winter drags on for what feels like forever, but eventually the cold winds are replaced with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. The bear emerges and is followed by 2 tiny bundles of fur. The cubs are not much smaller than 𝒉𝒁, but we keep our distance respectful, knowing she'll be protective. She continues to tolerate us at afar, her cubs wanting to play with us but not being allowed. The bear is very skinny and obviously eager to find food. 𝒉𝒁 takes up her spot well behind the bears, and we resume as we were months earlier, as if we were never interrupted by winter. 𝒉𝒁 smells other predators in the woods, mostly other bears, and regular wolves, but not many shifter scents. The 2 times we detected them, it was clear they were rogues by the stench they left behind. 𝒉𝒁 is extra vigilant after those scent encounters, not trusting the bear's presence alone for safety. Spring slowly turns into summer, and 𝒉𝒁 follows the small family back down the slope into the valley below. The trees and brush are thick here, the soil rich. The creek at the bottom is our first stop, fresh water for our bodies and shrubs bursting with haskaps for our stomachs. 𝒉𝒁 does her best to eat berries using her mouth, both of us knowing it would be foolish to take my form in the bear's presence. She's tolerant of 𝒉𝒁, but would likely be less trustful if she saw me. Sleeping during the day soon becomes vital, as the heat of summer smothers the area with burning pressure. The bears walk vast distances every day, the mother pushing the cubs to their limit. They eat as they travel, the mother clearly remembering favorite locations from years past. The cubs no longer express much interest in 𝒉𝒁, her presence so consistent and unthreatening that they no longer fear her. After these many months of living in the woods, mostly as 𝒉𝒁, the family and friends we lost seem like another lifetime ago. Here the days start and end like they do every day. The animals, birds, and stars not interested in our daily goings-on. They don't care that I've been orphaned and made homeless all in an afternoon, or that I have nowhere else to go. They have their own battles to wage and preparations to make, their own families to care for, and their own fights for survival to endure. The forest breathes in and breathes out, ever-changing and always consistent at the same time. 𝒉𝒁 has become another heartbeat in a sea of heartbeats. our presence simply accepted. The summer weeks pass quickly as the bears and I spend every waking minute putting food into our bodies. Malin learns the best ways to eat berries and fortifies her diet with meat we hunt on the go. As each day passes, the appreciation of this being our new norm can't be ignored. We wake, sleep, and eat according to the movements of the forest and its occupants, repeating the same actions over and over again in the hopes of living through one more winter. While Malin remains consistently hopeful that other survivors are out there, as well as packs who will welcome us, I am not. I don't know for sure who attacked us, so don't know who would see us as ally or enemy, which leaves me unable to trust anyone and unable to go anywhere. None of this would matter, and the normalcy of my new life would be short-lived. I was so fearful of the wild side of shifters after the slaughter that I allowed myself to forget that humans can also be just as cruel. I had become convinced that an existence untouched by others was my destiny, so when humanity thrust its ugliness into my life, I was unprepared. Chapter 7. Start of a New Nightmare. Far too soon the weather starts to turn as fall begins its approach. Malin spends most of her waking time hunting and foraging in order to fatten up for the cold. Our relationship of tolerance continues, the bears used to us and the mother no longer seeing Malin as a threat. We still maintain our distance to avoid causing any upset and not wanting to ruin the positive arrangement we've established. There is a thin layer of fallen leaves on the ground, overlaying the debris from seasons past. It makes the ground soft and slippery, and despite the claws we all have, the bears and Malin spend a lot of time falling and tripping. Small grubs and other insects are exposed in the disruption which the bears eagerly take advantage of. Unfortunately for Malin and me, bugs are still not something we can stomach. While the bears are busy, Malin follows her nose, seeking out something enjoyable for us to eat. We don't stray far from the bears and hunt from within their scent. The pickings are slim, mostly mice and other small rodents, but the calories are better than nothing. We're skirting silently through the brush, stirring up other prospects when Malin freezes in place before releasing a howl of agony. Ah! She seeks the source of her pain, and I immediately recognize that her back leg is in a snare trap. The metal wire has already cut into her flesh, tearing her leg apart with every move she makes. Malin collapses on her side, panting heavily. Within moments, the mother bear approaches the area where we are, her nose sniffling wildly as she tries to understand what is happening. She approaches closer while still maintaining a safe distance. The cubs remain back. She spends several minutes exploring the area, rubbing against trees and shrubs and thoroughly ensuring the area is covered in her scent. She gives me this last gift before taking her babies with her into the darkness of the trees, forever lost to the wilderness. Malin on her own doesn't have much scent, but the blood leaking out of her leg does. We both know it is going to be agonizing, but we need for me to take control. I can use my hands to loosen and remove the snare. The snare won't release otherwise, so it won't expand to allow for my larger leg, which means with the shift will come tremendous trauma. With tears in our eyes, Malin concedes to me and I move to the front. The snare is now wrapped around my larger leg with the same sized opening, chewing my flesh into shreds. My eyes are blurry as I first tighten, then loosen the snare, releasing my leg. Ah! I collapse flat onto the ground, the pain like a hot blade repeatedly slicing my skin. There is a lot of blood, and I know that if I stay where I am, I'll likely die here. Using Malin's front claws, I drag my body toward the nearby stream. It is small but has a gentle current, and the water is frigidly cold from the mountain runoff. From earlier explorations, I know there is a small waterfall further downstream, with a small shelf hidden behind it. It'll provide easy access to fresh water while providing sanctuary. I reach the water and continue pulling my body behind me, keeping my injured leg out of the mud and muck. The water stings and raises skin bumps as the cold confronts me like a punch to the face. I purposely place my face underwater as my leg comes into contact with the water, the hot knives turning into needles of ice. Ah! Unable to fight, I scream with all I have and am, releasing the pain of today and the pain of all my yesterdays. I only lift my face when I can no longer breathe, my legs slowly numbing in the cold. There are tears racing down my face, my entire body heaving from shock and pain. I remain laying in that position for a few minutes, needing the time to try and refocus my attentions. Using the buoyancy of the water to help keep my leg clean, I resume using Malin's claws to pull us along the stream. Moving at such a slow pace means the short trip to the waterfall takes hours, the cold continually seeping into me. It is well into the next morning when we reach the small body of water at the base of a small, narrow waterfall. I follow the stream into the pond, eagerly embracing the slightly warmer water. While swimming and floating the best I can, I move around the pond picking up plants, leaves, and mud. I throw the items up to the small ledge hiding several feet above the ground before starting the climb myself. With only one good leg, I slip several times on the loose rock and shale that form the back of the waterfall. The climb is incredibly difficult, but I persist, knowing that all of this difficulty will help keep us safe. When I reach the ledge, it is smaller than I remember. I drag my body as far back as I can go, leaning against the rear wall for support. My movements are starting to feel sluggish, as if my limbs are far heavier than they should be. I know it's shock, and I work quickly to treat my leg with my primitive supplies. It is clean from my time in the water, but still bleeding far faster than I'd like. Using one length of vine I grabbed from below, I wrap it around my leg above the wound. I pull it as tight as I can tolerate, and breathe a little easier when I see that flow has slowed down. I use the large water plant leaves as a surrogate bandage and paste them over my injury. They have no medicinal value beyond coverage, but I don't know what else to do. I'm not a doctor, but I know the cut is deep all around my leg, having torn into muscle as well as flesh. The throbbing is incessant, like someone squeezing the soreness repeatedly with their fists. I lay down on my side, the lightness in my head not improving. Despite knowing I shouldn't, I don't put up any resistance when the dark encroaches on my vision. The thin layer of dry leaves and other forest debris does little to shield me from the cold rock beneath, but I'm too far gone to be worried. The light in my eyes are starting to swirl as the blackness pushes its way in. I surrender to exhaustion with memories of the life I once knew and is now lost forever. As my eyes close, a vision of my loving parents begins to fade into the trickling of the water, the screams of home replaced by the wind in the trees. I allow myself to pretend and welcome the darkness, be it for a day or forever. Chapter 8. Lost in Time. Mom and Dad didn't have names picked out when Damon and I were born. They knew there was two of us, but that was it, waiting for the surprise to arrive at birth. No one was aware that I was conceding nutrients to my twin, so when we were born so physically varied, it was a surprise I had survived at all. Mom and Dad were so grateful for their two babies that they never once complained about my many ailments while Damon and I were growing up, or the times they were called to the school. Until people got to know me, all they saw was runt, so I used to be teased and bullied in the early school years. Damon ended up in countless fights, always seeking to defend his sister. My dad was proud of his son protecting his little sister, and 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕 never received punishment at home. Fighting wasn't encouraged, but we were also taught to never back down when cornered. The bond between 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕 and I was strong from the moment we got home from the hospital, sleeping better when the other was near, and content simply being and playing together. As if using forethought, our parents gave us both names that would forever brand and inspire us. 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕 is Greek for guardian spirit, and his wolf 𝒉𝒃 means brave guard. They have filled that role for me without hesitation from day one, ensuring my comfort and safety above their own. My name is also appropriate, Cherish meaning to treasure, treat with tenderness. With my petite size, my dad used to laugh that I could fit in his pocket, while insisting that wonderful gifts come in small packages. He never let his guard down when it came to me, recognizing me as the adult I became while still seeing his little girl in his heart. It was only when 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕 was capable of defending me in a fight, if necessary, did my dad finally allow the two of us to roam the woods without him. 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕's name means strong or little warrior, and is the perfect description of my other half. From the day we met, she has never backed down from a fight or bully, preferring to take a beating than the embarrassment of perceived cowardice. She is small but mighty, ferocious when compelled, and tenacious whether it's needed or not. She is brave despite her unimposing presence, and vicious because of it. I have been blessed with much love in my life, the strongest being that of 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕. It is memories of my childhood, Dad playing games with us in the woods while also teaching us survival skills, Mom doing puzzles with us or singing while working in the garden, Mom and Dad consistently saying goodnight with a kiss every night of my life. I had some days of melancholy or rebellion, as did 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕, but at the end of the day, our family always found their way back to one another. Dad often said that the world can be a harsh and cruel place, but having the security of family makes the worst storms manageable. 𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕 and I heard it so many times that it almost became a cliché in our house. But at the heart of it all, we understood the point. Being family doesn't make everything perfect, but working together as a family can be. The moments in time come and go as if in water, floating to the top, then sinking back to the bottom darkness. I think I sleep. I float in a state of nothingness, and other times awake in searing pain. I don't know how much time has passed, whether it is 1 day or 3, since I crawled into this space. I have been unconscious for the most part, thankfully, because when I'm awake there is no dulling the agony. My eyes open slowly, blinking as awareness and reality force themselves on me. I slowly sit up, moving in small increments to minimize the movement of my leg. Upright, I close my eyes and inhale deeply as I wait for the dizziness to pass, the sparkling stars taking their time to fade. When I'm able, I turn my attention to my injured leg. There is a pool of blood under it, telling me that the bleeding has slowed but still not stopped. I slowly peel the large leaves off, exposing the wound to my eyes. The flesh is ripped and jagged, the layers underneath sliced through nearly to the bone. I retighten the vine to maintain reduced blood flow and edge myself closer to the flowing water. A thorough washing of my hands and arms allow me to cup water repeatedly over my wound, cleaning out debris and dried blood. Every moment of contact is torturous, but I push through anyways. I drink water from my cupped hands, feeling slightly better for it. My stomach rumbles, reminding me it has been a while since I last ate. Knowing there is nothing to be done about it right now, I move back to my spot and stretch out again, exhausted. It is going to be several days before either Malin or I are in any condition to hunt or fish, which isn't going to help with the healing process. Staying hydrated is vital, but we can only go so long without food. I close my eyes, already drifting into the darkness that eagerly welcomes me back. We need time to heal and get strong enough to move, but time is the last thing we have. Chapter 9. Running out of time. I'm not sure how much time passes as I drift in and out of consciousness. Sometimes it is dark outside, and others clearly day, but one moment is the same as the next. Wake up feeling groggy, lightheaded, and yet crushingly heavy at the same time. Move to a sitting or leaning position, which takes time and excruciatingly painful movement. Rest until the diamonds reflecting in the water stop blinding me. Wash up and drink, then do what I can to treat my leg. By this point, I'm usually ready to collapse, both from exhaustion and misery. Then I lay down and return to the blessed darkness. At one time I feared the darkness and the evil that was implied to be within, and I have now seen with my own eyes. Betrayal, cruelty, degradation, abuse, and violence. All enemies held at the border by our watchful patrols until the day it wasn't. One day, one plan, one slaughter, and everything changed. My pack mates had friends and families in other packs, so word will have gotten out, but that doesn't change the facts. To act so depraved against your own is like an affront to nature or a violation of a sacred trust. To be so vile and cruel that you lose respect of the fact that these are living beings deserving of kindness and understanding. To lose yourself so completely to the primal and dark side of your nature that there will never be any coming back from it. As I surrender to the silence, I immerse myself in memories of my family. When Damon and I were young, he was so robust that Mom used to call him her Christmas turkey. We all laughed, and then Dad pulled me into his arms, giggling and tickling me. Damon excitedly came up with Nugget, because I was so much smaller than him, and that really tickled everyone, and it stuck. Before long, the nickname became pack-wide, and everyone knew me as Nugget, even when they didn't know my real name. It was a badge I wore with honor, because Damon gave it to me, and not out of spite or jealousness, but simple love and affection. I stir slightly, the pain in my leg now consistent and throbbing. I can feel every beat of my heart with the ache in my wound. Boom, boom, boom. The noise is loud, feels like it is coming from everywhere, yet I can feel it in my bones. I have been going from sweating hot to chilling cold, all the while my leg burns steadily. I drink when I physically can, knowing how vital it is for me to stay hydrated. My body is using the small reserves I had, and without nutrition it will start to fail. It seems foolish to keep trying to keep myself alive, knowing that I'm unable to change my fate. I can't hunt or fish without exposing myself to predators that I'm not strong enough to evade or fight. Currently, I can barely move my leg at all without risking unconsciousness, so unless a creature climbs in here with me and offers itself, I'm going to go hungry. Malin has done what she can to boost my physical state, but she has limits, and we're getting to the stage where just staying alive is enough of a challenge. Injury repair or containment has to be put on the back burner, as having a healthy leg won't matter if we're dead. It has been days since we were strong enough to shift, so the cool of the nights haven't been helping our overall health, the chill permeating to my very core. In the darkness, my parents wait for me with more stories to share. Dad reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar to me for the millionth time, with flashbacks of the countless hours my mom spent with me in the kitchen. Even when I was young, I loved cooking, especially baking, and Mom was always willing and eager to share her tips with me. We would work side by side, flour everywhere, from our hair to the floor, and despite the laughter and joking, we would end up with something delicious to share with the men in our lives. Damon would join in on the lessons sometimes, as our folks felt it was important for both of us to learn life skills. Mom and Dad were never unreasonable, assigning us ridiculous chores, but we were expected to contribute. Damon loves being outside whenever possible, so he would help Dad with the yard and garden, while my love for cooking kept me inside. We learned it all, and our parents were exceptional, patient teachers. I once had a dream, a fantasy, of what my ideal future would be. I would meet my mate who would accept me as is despite my size, and would see me for the woman I am. We would embrace the bond and grow closer day by day until we would commit to one another in front of our pack. My parents would cry happy tears, and Damon would begrudgingly accept my mate, not wanting to accept that anyone is good enough for me. After that, I would continue my work with the pack's kitchens, and we would have a beautiful family, all healthy and well. I would grow old with my mate, sitting on our front porch waving at our children and grandchildren as they come to visit. It would be a wonderful life full of love, kindness, and respect, and it always featured my family. Mom would help me choose the perfect white dress for the ceremony, while Dad would try to keep his crying a secret. Damon would flitter about, worrying about the details in an effort to keep me calm and relaxed. He would worry so I wouldn't have to, always striving to make my life as wonderful as it can be. Our son would be born first, followed by twin daughters. I had names picked out which would change over the years, but the theme was always the same: a loving partner and beautiful, supportive family. My parents would be amazing grandparents, over visiting all of the time, and being the same dynamic people they were for Damon and I. Dad would play chutes and ladders, while Mom would teach them how to cheat at poker. My parents would value every minute with their grandchildren because they did with us, never taking anything, or anyone, for granted. I opened my eyes slightly, the weariness pulling them closed almost as quickly. There are tears in my eyes and falling freely down my face and onto the ground beneath me. Malin concedes to her grief at the same moment I do, both of us gutted by the emptiness we feel inside. There will be no chutes and ladders or helping to learn how to ride a bicycle, no special time between grandparent and grandchild. All of that has been stolen from me, the babies to come, and my family who left too soon. Mom and Dad were cheated thoroughly. Everything they built was destroyed and everyone they loved missing or dead. They died not knowing if Damon and I survived, and they died brutally, cruelly, and unfairly. They all did. No one in that pack deserved what we received. Complete elimination and erasure through brutality and violence, all designed to inflict as much horror and trauma as possible. "Boo-hoo!" I cry, silently with minimal tears, too dehydrated to produce more. I don't attempt to sit up, already knowing I'm not strong enough this time. The tears stop as I refuse to cry for myself, acknowledging that the attack stole everything from me. My tears now won't change that or make it better, won't fix my leg or return me safely home to my family. So many options and choices have been made for us, no concern for our wants, needs, or desires.
While anger and hatred won't make things better either, in my soul it feels better than surrender. I have to believe that Damon survived, and he will ensure that the bastards who orphaned us pay for what they did. I've only made it this long hoping in my heart that my brother made it. that he was far enough away to avoid the invasion. As long as one piece of our family's love perseveres, no one will ever be forgotten. Chapter 10. Nearing the End. I know I'm losing time, but whether it is only minutes at a time or hours, I'm unsure. I'm no longer able to open my eyes, so sunlight is lost on me. Only the heat of the day gives me any idea of time. My leg continues to ache, but the pain is lessening, as is the bleeding. I worry that it is infected as it's been exposed and raw for so long without medicine, but soon abandon that line of thought. There is nothing I can currently do to change my circumstances, so worrying about something I can't control is pointless. Dad walked patrols for our pack his entire adult life, proud to be part of the shield that kept our pack safe. He wasn't working the day it happened, but I know he wouldn't have fallen easily, and not without a fight. He died fighting to save my mom and the pack as a whole, as did many other members that day. Dad was always my hero, never seeing me as less but rather as a tiny treasure to be valued every day. He encouraged me when we did our private training sessions. I was too small to be with the regular trainees. He would guide me through various moves that I grew to be capable with, and special techniques for someone my size. He and Damon were always incredibly protective of me, while ensuring I was not forced to live my life as a delicate flower. Mom would take me with her on walks through the trees, as we would look for berries to make Damon's favorite fruit pancakes, all the while telling me stories of her youth. She told me tales of when her and Dad first discovered each other, and how after that moment, she knew her fate was to be at Dad's side. They learned to be adults together, making mistakes, but learning as they grew, until they welcomed Damon and I into their family. Mom always said that was the best decision they ever made, as her spirit became complete when we were born. The scare surrounding my arrival ensured we always treasured each moment together, valued each other's laughter and insight, while being supportive and encouraging. Voices never rose in our house unless in joy, with punishments being limited to groundings and timeouts. The cold of the air has chilled me thoroughly, and even the shivering has stopped. Being close to water kept me hydrated, but it also kept everything damp, never truly heating up behind the veil of water. At first it was tolerable, but as time passed, my overall well-being has deteriorated to the point where I can't warm up at all anymore. I have tears threatening to fall, but not the capacity to produce them, forced instead to cry silently, alone with only the walls of the alcove for comfort. Malin has been mostly silent for a while now, her own health weakening even faster than mine. I know she's still there, but have nothing to offer her beyond empty words, both of us knowing how this is going to end. I'm devastated to be dying alone in the woods, but at the same time, grateful that I received the extra time at all. I learned to live in the forest and survive, only being defeated when the hand of man intervened. I don't feel fear at the thought of closing my eyes and existence forever, but rather comfort, knowing my parents are only moments away. Mom and Dad died horribly and painfully, but to me, they will forever be the incredibly loving and kind people who made me feel safe and wanted every day of my life. The need to be embraced by my parents is like an addiction, and one I know I'll never experience again in this lifetime. It will only be when Malin and I enter the next phase beyond and see Mom and Dad again, their arms open and waiting. Boo-hoo, I'm drifting again into the now cold darkness when Malin begins to wail, her howl of woe echoing through my bones. The pain is a physical entity bouncing off the walls, moving from corner to corner and penetrating every nook and crack.
She cries of broken relationships and lost friends, pups who will never grow up and entire families eliminated. Her sorrow is heartfelt, born of blood shed and shattering bone. Her body is drained and her spirit frayed, yet she howls on, unable or perhaps unwilling to stop. I'm returning to the darkness as Malin's serenade of grief continues unabated. I'm comforted by her voice, even in the state of distress she's in. I've never been alone, even when I sought to survive in the woods on my own, because Malin was always with me. She has been a part of my life, a part of me for so many years that I can barely remember the time before she joined me. My heart breaks when I think of her being lost forever, while at the same time full of selfish gratitude that I'm not doing to die alone.
𝑷𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕.
In the distance I hear what sounds like voices, but I'm unable to understand what is being said. The voices are close, first racing past my hiding area and down the stream before returning. Malin grows quiet immediately, not trusting the visitors scurrying around in the area beyond the waterfall. The voices continue and some are loud, as if shouting, but the words remain senseless. I want to look at what is happening, but barely open my eyes a slit. My energy reserves thoroughly depleted.
𝑷𝒍�𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕.
The voices are frighteningly close, almost within arm's reach. Malin begins to howl again, this time with an urgency I've never heard before. She is fading fast, the sound fading like a deflating balloon. I hear water splashing and know without looking that I've been discovered and am no longer safe. Boo-hoo, Malin's wail is soft but persistent, as if insisting we be found. I don't understand her behavior, but am not strong enough to deter her, being forced to resort to simple begging for her to be silent. She ignores me, the sob now shuddery and raspy, the last of Malin's energy leaving her.
Nugget! Nugget! Oh my goddess! I hear the voice and understand it clearly, which convinces me I am dreaming or hallucinating. The fact that the voice belongs to Damon is impossible, but so soothing that I choose to play along.
It is with a start that I feel warm hands on my cold skin, soon followed by a piece of cloth covering my nudity. The voices continue, quieter now, hushed and subdued. I surrender easily to the illusion that Damon is here, that he has somehow found me and is going to help me. I feel someone brushing my hair from my face and caressing my cheek, while someone else tends to my injury. There are small moments of pressure and knife-sharp pain in my leg that I try to ignore. Nugget, I'm here. Cherry, and I'll never leave you again, the voice tells me in a reassuring tone. Again, I convince myself that it isn't Damon talking to me, that it isn't possible, and simply my mind playing tricks on me. The voice continues murmuring words of comfort and love, while my body is gently maneuvered out of the alcove and down to the ground. My leg is splinted, and soon we're moving swiftly through the trees, held in the arms of our Savior. In the sliver of sight I have, I look at the face of the man carrying me, and am instantly confused when I see my dad. How is it possible for him to be here? Did he survive the attack? Did I leave him behind while he was still suffering? I close my eyes and try again, doing my best to focus. My eyes take in more of the man's features, and I realize that it isn't my dad at all, but Damon.
Tears I didn't think I had in me start to fall freely as I realize that not only did my brother survive the attack, but he has also found me and will save me. I didn't lose everyone that day after all, and learning I'm not alone is overwhelming. The joy beyond containment.
I'm here, Nugget, and you're going to be okay. Damon tells me as the darkness finally wins. I don't worry about not opening my eyes again, because now I'm going to receive the help I need, and with Damon back in my life, I have reason to try. With Damon back in my life, it isn't just survival that matters now, but thriving. With Damon back in my life, I want to try. Enjoying the story so far? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Chapter 11. Saved. Open your eyes, Nugget. Come on, sis. Damon's voice says to me in a soothing tone, an anchor of sanity in a sea of chaos. My mind slowly registers distant beeping machines, voices on intercoms, and the distinct aroma of bleach and antiseptic. A hospital. I strive to open my eyes, every millimeter requiring tremendous effort. When they're finally open, they scan the room I'm in, taking in little. My sight is blurry and slow to clear, but in minute increments, I'm able to confirm my initial suspicion. The hospital room is small, barely big enough for the bed I'm in, let alone the numerous pieces of equipment surrounding my bed. Sitting beside me in a chair far too small for his frame, his beautiful face bright with a smile I never dreamed I'd see again. Boo-hoo! Our eyes meet, and without saying a word, we cry. We cry in grief, knowing our family is now just us. We cry in anger, the senselessness of the attack echoing in both of our hearts, and we cry in relief, astonished to be together again. We speak little, neither of us knowing the right words to say. I have questions, and I know he does too, but to bring them forth would require us both to mentally relive the worst day of our lives. My physical exhaustion is also a hindrance, as the sorrow has drained what little energy I had, gone with each drop of my tears. Damon kisses our folded hands and whispers to me that I'm safe and he'll be here when I wake up. Unable to resist, the beckoning silence lures me into its darkness. The next time I awaken, I have an easier time opening my eyes and focusing. I physically feel stronger than I have in a long while, the IV pouring much-needed nutrients and calories into my body. I turn my attention to Damon, who is sprawled awkwardly in his chair, his head hanging backwards with drool pooling on his shirt. Involuntarily, I giggle, not wanting to laugh because I just got him back, but at the same time, unable to not. My laughter wakes Damon, who embarrassingly wipes his face clean while sitting up. There's a sound I didn't think I would hear again, he says with a grin, standing up to hug me. Our embrace is long and tight. Everything we need to say but are not ready to is conveyed silently through our heartbeats. When Damon finally releases me, he takes a perch on the side of the bed. My eyes pan down to my injured leg, unsure of what I'm going to find. Knowing what I'm seeking, Damon carefully moves the blanket and uncovers my leg. I'm relieved my foot is still attached, but dismayed by the number of bandages and gauze that are wrapped around my leg, as if holding it together. You were in surgery for a long time, but they are confident your leg will heal, he says with caution, and I know what he isn't telling me. Should heal and will heal are not the same thing. Nor is regular function versus restricted. I'm prepared to face all challenges, but I need to know what I'm up against. Malin is hovering near the surface, her joy at being reunited with Kenner temporarily put aside as she listens to our prognosis. Things could go wrong, he continues softly. He explains that infection is still a risk until the wound completely seals, which will take months, even with Malin's influence. If my injury became badly infected, it would ultimately lead to partial amputation of my leg. While the thought frightens me, I'm more grateful to have the chance than anything else. You're going to have scarring, he tells me with a sad face. I give him a gentle smile to try and reassure him that an ugly leg is the least of my concerns, but the gentle grin he gives me in response doesn't meet his eyes. You might need a cane or crutch once you're back on your feet, but that won't slow you down for long, he concludes with a laugh. I share his joy easily, grateful to have him by my side for this journey. We talk a little longer about my leg and other safe topics until the doctor comes in and repeats everything Damon just told me. He is far more realistic about the chances of infection and amputation and doesn't sugarcoat it. You're going to require ongoing care for several weeks while your leg heals. Once your leg is strong enough, we'll start you on exercises, but until then, stay off the leg, he tells me firmly. He promises that if everything continues as is, I'll be released in a matter of days to my brother's care. Damon didn't hesitate to step up when the doctor said I'd need someone around for the first few weeks, promising to clear it with the alpha. I say nothing more as Damon and the doctor conclude their chat. Damon and I have purposely avoided in-depth conversations because of the pain behind it, but after Damon volunteered, I realized we're going to need to have that talk sooner rather than later. Chapter 12. The Damon I always knew, and the one I had yet to meet. After the doctor leaves, Damon sits with me and ensures I'm comfortable until I fall back to sleep. Damon is there when I wake up again and stays with me the entire time I'm up. We walk about the hospital, the weather, my leg, anything and everything but what we need to discuss. He tells me where we are, the medical ward in the pack house of the mountain range pack. We are so distant from home that I don't even recognize the name, amazing myself for traveling as far as we did. He tells me the pack is huge, 4 times what Clear Falls was, with the land spreading for miles. He doesn't tell me how he got here, or what happened after he left that day, and I don't ask. That is a conversation we are saving for when we're alone. Over the next couple of days, Damon rarely leaves my side, only stepping away when I need privacy or he has pack business. I still don't know what role he has within the pack, but save that for later, focusing on getting released from the ward. The day I am released, the nurse helps me shower using a bench and plastic wrap to protect my leg. I'm exhausted when I stand and wobble side to side with uncertainty, all my weakness being placed on my one good leg. The shower takes over an hour to complete because of prepping my leg and needing to move slowly. I slip on a set of nurse's scrubs as I have no other clothes, and everything of Damon's is far too large for me. The scrubs are also big but manageable once the cuffs and sleeves were rolled up. When I return to the main room leaning on the nurse, I find Damon already excitedly waiting for me. He is standing next to a wheelchair that has been loaned to me until I'm ready to advance. His face is huge with a smile that immediately relaxes me and makes the wheelchair seem less permanent. The two of them help me into the chair with my leg lifted and supported. I have no clothes, so nothing to take with me, so the exit process doesn't take long. Damon pushes my chair alongside a gravel walkway, preferring to be on the grass for easier movement. He points out things as we stroll, where the warriors train, the dining hall, and so on. Mountain Range looks much like Clear Falls did, with youngsters running and playing freely, and shifters of all ages scurrying about doing tasks and chores. The trees are thick here, with the mountains towering over top of us all, casting the camp into shadow early every evening. We pass several cabins of varying sizes, some with small gardens and others with swing sets. Damon continues his tour until we turn off the main area and into the woods. The path is now simply treaded ground worn flat from generations of steps. Damon turns us again, and we stop at a small cabin with a tiny front porch, featuring a single rocking chair. Damon puts the lock on my chair, then moves to open the front door before returning to me. He mostly carries me into the cabin, which Malin instantly confirms is his, based on scent alone. The cabin is small, a bed tucked into a corner, a kitchenette on the opposite side next to the small couch and fireplace. There is a single door next to the door that I assume leads to the bathroom and piles of Damon's clothes scattered all over the floor. I smile with Malin, knowing that some things never change. He places me on the bed and builds up support under my leg. He ducks into the kitchen to pull out a bottle of water which he brings to me, along with a couple of pain capsules. I take it all from him and swallow the pills, preferring to stay ahead of the throbbing. Only when he is sure I'm comfortable and have everything I need does he sit on the bed beside me. We're both quiet for several long moments, neither of us wanting to start. His eyes meet mine, and there are tears falling freely down his face. He reaches out and caresses my cheek, and I realize I'm also crying, his fingers trying to wipe away my pain. I felt the loss of the pack while I was traveling, he whispers, braving the horrors all over again. I nod slightly, unable to speak as the tears continue to flow. He is looking at me but not seeing me. Instead, his mind has taken him back to the time and place everything was destroyed. Ooh, Kenner didn't handle it well. Hell, neither of us did. He sobs, his body shaking with uncontrollable sorrow. I squeeze his hand tighter and wait patiently, encouraging him to continue when he's ready. The pain was like nothing I'd experienced before. Kenner shut down and I wasn't strong enough for both of us. I should have raced back and helped, fought the bastards away or helped more survive. Something. Anything, but instead I did nothing. His words are garbled with unshed emotion, but I'm still able to understand. My heart breaks when I realize how much guilt he has been holding on to. Guilt he didn't earn and doesn't deserve. Damon! Listen to me! I whisper insistently until he meets my gaze. His eyes are bloodshot and his posture is one of defeat. I lift our joined hands and kiss them. Boo-hoo! If you were there, Damon, I start but break into wails at the thought. If he had been there, I would have lost him too. There was just too much evil for good to win that day. We look at each other quietly and continue to cry, the ache in my heart like a medical emergency. You were where you were meant to be, Damon. So was I, and for no good reason I can think of, we were spared. The crying continues but softer, our connection providing consolation for our broken spirits. After I got back, everyone was gone. There was no evidence anyone had ever been there, just empty cottages and rooms. His eyes close, grief spread across his face like cracks in concrete. I found the bodies. There had been a large pyre near the pack house, he manages to say before breaking down entirely. The only thing keeping me sane is the fact that I didn't see it but am able to imagine it all too easily. The bodies of our family and friends stacked together and set alight, ensuring their complete erasure. Malin cries, but I remain silent, trying to be the strong one for my brother. The rest of the grounds, well, it was obvious what had happened, he says, taking me back to that day. Blood was everywhere, splattered on walls, pooling on floors, sprayed across lawns. The sound was loud and garish, full of violence and anguish, and then there was nothing. Silence, thorough and complete. Not even the songbirds made a sound, the very world around us in horrified shock. Damon takes a deep, shuddering breath before continuing. I hoped you were alive, but I had no way to be sure. until I saw your footprints leading into the woods from the house, he says, a quick smile flashing on his face in remembrance. I nod slightly, my mind stuck in our childhood home and the carnage that took place. I wandered for a while, not sure what to do or where to go. I stopped by a couple of different packs, but nothing felt right, so I kept moving. His eyes are soft and out of focus, his mind lost in time. Eventually, I stumbled across Mountain Range, and I've been here ever since. Alpha Richard is a great guy. Reminds me a lot of Dad, actually. He and the Luna have been in charge here for nearly 40 years. Their son Xander is set to step up, he tells me, then fills me in more on the pack he now calls home. Alpha Richard has already invited you to join the pack, when and if you're ready, he tells me with a huge smile, and I give him one back. I never dreamed I would be a part of a pack again, and despite Damon's obvious pride in his new extended family, I can't help but worry that I'll be rejected once they see me. As if knowing where my mind is, Damon gently flicks me on the nose, like one might a naughty puppy. Alpha Richard is a good man, and you're home, if you want to be, he finishes, letting his words sink in. I lean back on the bed to consider his offer. No place will ever be Clear Falls. That dream has been forever destroyed. Not being the same as home doesn't mean it can't be as good, if I'm willing to try.
I never want to lose you again, Damon. Where you are, I am, I tell him with confidence. He squeezes my hand and nods softly, absorbing the words. I stare steadily into his eyes, sharing my confidence with him silently. His eyes, green like mine but so reminiscent of Dad that it actually causes me pain. I fall asleep that day feeling truly optimistic for the first time in a very long time, hopeful for a tomorrow with Damon and healing. Chapter 13. The revelations and heartbreak keep coming. It is a few days before we return to the topic that we constantly skirt around. Our sorrow feels like a cloak that covers us from the top of our heads to the tips of our toes, drowning us in heartache. With Damon's assistance, I start moving around, at first within the cabin, but eventually I start venturing outdoors. The small porch becomes my sanctuary, offering both comfort and isolation, depending on the need. Damon starts back on his duties, finally bearing to leave me for a few hours each day. He is a patrol warrior for Mountain Range, and while Alpha Richard has been very patient, it was time for him to return to his tasks. Honestly, the couple hours of solitude are my favorite part of the day, and not because Damon isn't wonderful. He truly is. He looks after my every need before I say anything. He cleans up after me before I have the chance to do it myself, and he insistently refuses my help in any cooking or cleaning chores. He is an absolute doll who is doing his best to provide protection and security in the best way he knows how. Unfortunately, it is also smothering. Being allowed to start moving has boosted my attitude, giving me a sense of independence I hadn't realized I lost. Living on our own, Malin and I learned to be self-sufficient as there was no other option. Now Damon barely allows me to go to the bathroom by myself, always hovering outside the door in case I fall. I feel awful for enjoying the quiet because Damon is doing his utmost in every way, and it all comes from the heart. I never say a word of complaint, though, only gratitude and appreciation. My brother is a nurturer, and someday he is going to make his mate very happy. It is a dark evening in that not even the moon was visible, only gray clouds on black skies. The air smells of rain in that way that lets you know you need to put away lawn chairs and head inside. I'm in the rocking chair while Damon relaxes on the steps beside me,
In the distance, we can hear the faint sound of thunder, and the air takes on a chill. Damon quickly stands and wraps a blanket around me and ensures I'm warm enough before sitting down again. His eyes meet mine in the night, but he doesn't say a word. The time has come, and I know what he wants, what I need, but I'm also terrified of reopening the wound. The heartache surrounding the loss of our parents is so paramount in my chest that I forget what life was like before this crippling emotional damage. My eyes meet Damon's, but before long, he is no longer in front of me, and I'm no longer in my chair. I can feel the dough in my hands, smell the freshly baked bread. I can clearly hear the voices and laughter of other members enjoy our hard work, their appreciation loud and heartfelt. I start, a warmth in my chest as I think of those last moments. Phoebe slicing the loaves as fast as they're being devoured, her laughter louder than the commotion. The noise and alarm were instant. Everyone started scrambling. Phoebe had me shift and hid Malin in a kitchen cupboard, my scent drowned out by the ovens. I continue before taking a pause. Thinking back to the moment that everything changed and ended is like using a grater on your soul. Each stroke digs deeper, tearing emotional flesh. Boo-hoo! The sounds, Damon. I break into sobs, unable to continue. Damon gets onto his knees and wraps his arms around me, allowing my tears to flow onto his shirt. It is several minutes before I'm able to get my breathing back under control, allowing me to share it all before it eats me alive. The mind link disappeared when the alpha died. Otherwise, there were shouts and screams. My words disappear into a new round of tears. I'll never unhear the violent deaths of everyone in my life. Never forget what I saw. Never forget what was lost. Not just my parents, my alpha or my pack, but what I thought life was. I naively believed that love and family were consistence that would last forever, that evil only lurked outside our borders and that home is safety. In brutal act after brutal act, all that faith was lost. I don't know if I'll ever believe differently again. I blink rapidly, forcefully bringing myself back to the present and Damon. After it was quiet, I finally snuck out of my hiding spot and walked into hell. I don't elaborate, choosing to not further demean my pack members by going into detail about their horrible deaths. Damon nods, not needing or wanting more. Boo-hoo! I went home, I stutter out, trying to fight the breakdown building inside of me. Damon takes me back into his embrace, holding me silently while I struggle for control. Someday you'll tell me, when you're ready, or maybe you won't because you can't. That's okay, Nugget. We both lost our parents that day, and I'll share the burden whenever you're ready, he says softly, not pushing me further. We sit quietly for several minutes, the thunder persistently moving closer and closer. With a deep breath, I forge ahead. I knew I couldn't stay there, but didn't know where else to go. Who else would want me? I admit honestly. Damon's face turns angry, but he knows I'm right. Not every pack accepts or wants a runt. I let Malin take charge, surviving in the woods. I leave it at that. No wishing to go into my time in the woods. It sounds heroic, but it was anything but. Cold nights, hot days, little food at irregular times. I did what I needed to survive, but it is also a time that I'm happy to put behind me. That's how I found you. I was out on patrol when I got a small whiff of your scent in the air along the stream. I knew it was you the instant I scented it. Kenner was already urging me to move faster, he says with a soft grin, likely recalling the joy of thinking I may be alive. His grip on my hand tightens, also remembering the state I was in. Kenner knew you were in trouble, and then we heard it.
Malin was calling for us. There was no stopping us then, and we had to find you, he concludes, both of us knowing how the rest of the story went. The sky flashes blindingly bright as lightning streaks across the sky, the storm moving into position overhead. Damon helps me up and we head back inside as the clouds open, the pouring rain washing away the sins of the world.
Damon falls asleep as we sit side by side on the small couch, watching the rain drip down the window. The thunder rumbles consistently and forcefully, rattling the glasses while the wind buffets against the wood frame. Damon's breathing is relaxed and even, his head resting on my shoulder. I kiss the top of his head before resting mine on his and falling asleep myself. Chapter 14. Starting anew. The next few weeks pass in a blur, each day busier than the last. My leg continues to heal, but I'll always have a limp, and visually it isn't pretty, but considering how bad it could have been, I count it as a blessing. Part of my healing process has involved exploring more of the pack territory, meeting other pack members, and being welcomed warmly. I've even found the main kitchen, and have spent some time in there getting to know the other volunteers. I can't stand for long periods yet, but am happy to contribute however I can. As soon as I entered the kitchen, it felt like a slap on my heart, a fist clenching my chest. Flashbacks of blood splatter across the front of the fridge, the bodies of my friends, and the smell of freshly baked bread mixed with the acidic metallic stench of freshly spilled blood. One of the other volunteers, Jenna, welcomes me to the group and introduces me to everyone. Everyone knows what happened to Damon and me, our pack and our family, so the kindness is genuine and welcome. She gives me the layout of the kitchen, proudly showing off the modern appliances. The kitchen is polished stainless steel, easily 3 times the size of the one at Clear Falls. She makes me feel excited about working in the vast space, once again sharing in the workload with others. I was introduced to Alpha Richard and his Luna, who immediately took me into her embrace, shedding tears of sympathy. Malin was instantly soothed by the Luna's influence, doomed to forever seek the love of the mother we lost. Malin and I officially joined Mountain Range within the first few weeks, both of us desperately in need of a pack again. It'll never replace what was lost, but it has given us hope that a tomorrow is possible. They tell me they have one son, the Alpha heir, but he is away at meetings.
Turns out Clear Falls hasn't been the only pack hit, with at least 2 others also falling victim. Alphas, betas, and warriors have been gathering to share intel and work as a group to find out who is responsible and hold them accountable. Malin and I listen as the Luna hurriedly whispers this to me, both as a reassurance to me that what happened hasn't been forgotten, and also to avoid panicking the rest of the pack. Word will have traveled, but gossip and rumor aren't the same as hearing the facts from your leadership. Until more is known, there is little to discuss beyond speculation and guesswork. This week, the Alpha heir is scheduled to return and will hopefully bring information with him. Damon and I have established a new life in Mountain Range, but parts of our hearts will always remain in Clear Falls. Seeing some sort of punishment on the bastards responsible remains a distant hope, but a consistent one all the same. After the Alpha heir returned, the Luna invites Damon and I to join them for lunch, eager to share his information with us. We leave early to ensure we arrive on time, allowing for my slower progress. I lean into Damon, the 2 of us walking so close we're practically one being. Ever since we rediscovered each other, we've both been clingy and demanding. Our wolves want to spend time together, sharing comfort and consolation. We walk mostly in silence, using the mind link when necessary, otherwise simply enjoying being together.
Other members of our pack wave at us from a distance, while others speak kind words in passing. Feeling safe and loved by a pack seemed like a lost dream to me for so long, and even now, I still find it hard to believe. The Alpha and Luna live in a 2-story log cabin that features a large stone chimney on one end and a wraparound porch on the other. It is stunning, settled into its environment like it has always belonged. The gardens are formal and extravagant, featuring roses in a multitude of colors and sizes. As Damon and I approach, I catch my first whiff of the most amazing scent I've ever encountered. At first, my thoughts run along the line of whatever the Luna is cooking. It smells amazing to the paralyzing shock of what it really means. I stop short of the front stairs, frightened to move forward. My true mate is inside the house, and while this moment is supposed to be incredible, it instead fills me with dread. Nothing about me is going to be appealing to anyone. Not my size, not my needs, and certainly not my scars. Whoever he is will take one look at me and reject me on the spot, causing such sorrow to Malin and me that I truly don't know if I could survive it. Not after everything else that has happened. I am frozen to the ground, unwilling to move forward yet unable to turn away. Damon's confusion is apparent as he tries to figure out what is holding me back. It is only when my eyes meet his and he sees the pain I'm already experiencing does it all come together for him. Now? Here? His voice is low, nearly a whisper. His eyes dart around wildly, trying to determine who I am scenting. Damon knows my fear as we've never kept secrets, and being rejected has been a haunting nightmare for me for as long as I can remember. I never dreamed of finding my true partner, and now that the moment is here, I'm desperate to return to my state of ignorance. I nod slightly, unable to use my words. Damon continues to watch me, trying to decide what our next step should be.
Within seconds, he is guiding me to nearby secluded area that features a small gazebo in the center. There is a swing inside as well as 2 chairs, an inviting space for afternoon tea or conversation. He helps me settle on the swing, not wanting me to go back to our cabin on my own. I reassure him I'll be fine and to go to lunch so he can find out everything he can. He promises to make apologies to the Alpha and Luna, then heads to the house on his own. I hear the murmur of voices and the closing of the door as Damon is invited inside. I scoot back on the seat of the swing, which lifts my feet off the ground. It isn't far, but it is enough for me to swing back and forth easily. I close my eyes softly and focus on the sounds all around me, loving the commotion and chaos of a happy pack. I settle in and get comfortable, fully expecting it to be a couple of hours before Damon returns. Instead, moments later I hear the fast approach of footsteps. I know who it is before they arrive, the scent of my mate reaching through the thin tree line to my soul. I remain on the swing, silent as a man walks into the small clearing, his eyes locked on mine. Neither of us say anything for a moment, shock, awe, and dismay cycling in our eyes. Finally, the man breaks the silence. I knew the minute your brother walked into the house,
he says, his eyes steadily holding mine. I brace myself for anger, knowing what is coming next.
Why did you walk away?
His face looked tortured, pain and insecurity etched into the lines of his face. I swallow, trying to find my voice. Part of me wants to lie and save myself embarrassment, but instead I choose honesty, opting to face the consequences. I didn't want to be rejected, I whisper. He scowls, a look of disbelief on his face. I can feel tears collecting in the corners of my eyes, the anticipated hurt only seconds away. He stands silently for a moment, working through my words and fear. Then he slowly approaches me and kneels down on the ground beside me. Our faces level. I stop swinging and we silently face one another, each of us trying to determine if this is a blessing or a curse. I would never reject you. I don't want to reject you. You and I have been given a blessing that will fill our lives with joy, support, and love, he says softly, taking one of my hands in his. He kisses the tips of my fingers so softly I barely feel the caress. If you'll allow it, I want to get to know you. I want to spend time with you so you can get to know me and hopefully be my partner. You'll be my equal in all things and all ways, and I will happily spend the rest of my life showing you how important you are, he finishes, a gentle smile on his face. Malin is already swooning, eager to make this man our forever. I give him a gentle smile in return. "What's your name?" I whisper, smiling bigger as he realizes he forgot to introduce himself. He gives his head a shake, his eyes fiery for a moment before clearing, allowing him to join in the joke. He adjusts our handhold to a shake, pumping our hands up and down. "My name is Xander. The Alpha and Luna are my parents," he tells me, and I can't help but be stunned. He is going to be alpha of this pack, and he isn't rejecting me. How is that possible? He needs a strong, competent she-wolf at his side, not some tiny, physically and emotionally scarred survivor. Clearly seeing the line of thought going through my mind, Xander squeezes my hand again. "You're my mate, and I'm yours, if you'll try," he says, more asking than telling. He is attempting to alleviate all of the fears and worries I'm feeling, while leaving the entire choice up to me. It is obvious to me he knows of my history, and yet he still sought me out and despite all my shortcomings, still wants to try for a future together. Malin doesn't need any more convincing, practically rolling on her back in a very unladylike manner. He waits quietly, allowing me the time to process my scurrying thoughts. I look into his deep brown eyes and see my reflection looking back at me, desperately wanting to believe it is all possible. I lift my free hand and gently caress his cheek with the back of my hand. His eyes close as he leans into my touch, the sensation of electricity pulsing through our bodies. I say nothing until he opens his eyes, looking at me with a sense of hope and trepidation. "My name is Cherish, and I want to try," I softly whisper, my words for his heart only. He repeats my name, and I feel warmth flood my body as I hear my name on his lips. His smile is large as he easily and confidently expresses his joy. He stands up and, while still holding my hand, encourages me to stand with him. "You up for some lunch?" he asks, and I nod, excited to join Damon, the Alpha, and Luna. I want to hear everything that was learned, while also screaming from the rooftops that Malin and I have found our ever after. I settle for holding his arm as we slowly stroll back to his parents' house, where our announcement is welcomed with hoots, cheers, and hugs. Damon smiles, but I know it isn't heartfelt, a source of pain hiding below. He gives his head a shake when I try to ask, instead lifting me into his arms and swinging me around in celebration. Xander growls, then apologizes, his wolf Koa already protective of us. I sit down at the table with Xander on one side of me and Damon on the other. Conversation flows easily with no uncomfortable silences, only stories of mirth and joy. We all know why we're here, but that isn't discussion for the dinner table, putting the darkness aside until we've eaten. There will be plenty of time for sorrow later. Chapter 15. The Truth Behind the Lies. Far too soon the light-hearted atmosphere evaporates, replaced by silent angst.
We all go into the Alpha's office, where the Alpha takes his seat behind his desk, and the Luna perches on the arm of his chair. I take one end of a love seat, and Xander concedes the chair beside me to Damon, telling me the news he is about to share is not good. Xander sits in a chair facing all of us, leaning forward with his elbows resting on his knees. There is a haunted look in his face, the look of a man whose soul has been forever damaged. Xander takes a deep breath and reaches out for my hand, which I eagerly offer. We hold hands across the small space between us, my other hand securely in Damon's grasp. The man behind the attacks is 𝒊𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒐𝒏 from the Flatlands pack, he states simply, then falls silent, letting the news sink in. I'm vaguely aware of maybe hearing the name once or twice around the pack, but nothing jumps out to scream they would later be our executioner. Damon's face reveals he also is unsure who the man is, but Alpha Richard releases a rough exhalation, his expression plain to see. I've met him a few times over the years at council meetings and yearly galas. He is a large man with an ego to match, very arrogant and misogynistic. The women in his pack are not treated well, Alpha Richard tells us, sparing his partner the worst details. He wraps his arm around the waist of his Luna, clearly seeking her reassurance and comfort. Clear Falls was the first pack attacked, but there have been 3 more since then. One just happened days ago to a small pack on the coast, Xander continues, and my heart skips a beat. These horrible monsters haven't been stopped and have forcefully ruined more packs and lives unhindered. Damon squeezes my hand tighter. The heartache contorting his face tells me he's mentally back to where it all happened. I squeeze him back in an effort to keep him grounded, and moments later he blinks the darkness from his eyes. He gives me a slight smile before turning his attention back to Xander. They clear out the pack and later return to claim the territory. The best anyone can figure, that's all this is about, forced expansion. Rather than using diplomacy to make alliances and friendships, they instead chose violence, sword over discussion. Xander is gazing at the ground, as if building the courage to continue. Flatlands is a huge pack, easily 3 times the size of Mountain Range. They're able to dominate because their size allows it, Xander concludes, allowing the impact of his words to crash down on us. Alpha Richard slams his fist down onto the top of his desk, the wood threatening to collapse under the fury. Any alpha who runs his pack like 𝒊𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒐𝒏 does is a disgrace not worthy of the title. Using violence and torture while annihilating entire packs shows how little he values the lives of those around him, Alpha Richard practically shouts, his wolf pushing at the limits of his control. His Luna moves herself into his lap, forcing his heart rate to slow down and regulate to hers, calming both him and his wolf. We are 1 pack out of 11 who are given their word to band together, Xander says firmly, ensuring Damon and I are hearing him clearly. We sit and wait quietly, anxious to hear what banding together is going to mean. The Council has issued a death warrant for 𝒊𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒐𝒏, and working with our allies, we're going to attack Flatlands. No one of rank and no warrior will be spared, while lower-ranking wolves will be given the option to pledge allegiance to one of the other alphas. They will be given the option to save their lives, and anyone who refuses will die where they stand. By the end of the day, Flatlands will cease to exist, Xander tells us with no doubt in his voice. He sounds strong and self-assured, and as he goes on to explain the commitment everyone is making and the day of the attack. The 3 men soon get involved in war strategy, discussing which warriors will join us in the fight and who will remain for the safety of the pack. The Luna stands, gives her mate a kiss before indicating to me to follow her out of the room. Both Damon and Xander watch me leave, neither one happy that I'm going. Thankfully, they are equally as aware of the upcoming battle and the need to keep their minds focused.
I follow the Luna to the kitchen where she plugs in a kettle and pulls out the tea bags. She works in silence, and I follow her lead, not commenting on her trembling hands. When the water is ready, she fills the pot and rests on the table along with some biscuits. I join her at the table, and we sit side by side in quiet for several minutes. The only noise to be heard is the crunching of the snacks or the tinkling of a spoon against a cup. I wait patiently, knowing she has something she needs to say, and will when she's ready. The warriors of this pack are strong and brave. Each will fight until their last breath, she says while staring into her tea. I nod softly but say nothing. I see her eyes fill with unshed tears as she continues in a shaky voice. My husband and my son are exceptional leaders and fighters themselves, she says as her voice breaks. I reach out and take her hand in mine, waiting for her to finish her concerns while also hoping she won't. The thought of losing either or both of the men in her life has her nearly paralyzed with terror, only her eyes expressing her turmoil. Boo-hoo, Cherish, I can't lose them, she whimpers before breaking into sobs. I take her awkwardly into my embrace and let her weep into my shoulder. In seconds, I hear the frantic pace of a mate alarmed by the emotions his partner is feeling, and soon Alpha Richard enters the kitchen. I move back as he walks straight toward his Luna, both of them reaching for the other. Xander follows his dad in and stays silently in the doorway, his eyes taking in the scene before him. I stand and move on soft feet to Xander, who opens his arms to me. I don't hesitate, entering his embrace and burying my face in his chest. Malin cries, feeling the Luna's fears and absorbing them as her own. I force out thoughts of losing my mate after finally finding him, unable and unwilling to entertain the very notion. Malin and I are soothed by our mate, his words of comfort and the warmth of his embrace convincing us that everything is going to be okay. Shifters are going to die, on their side and on our own. There will be no gentlemanly battles or mercy because the enemy doesn't deserve it. They have shown how cruel and ugly they are willing to be in order to get what they want, and I can only imagine what the desperation of being on the defensive will make them do. The upcoming battle is going to be devastating to so many, and death is surely going to touch all souls that day. Survivors will bear emotional and physical scars for the rest of their days, while the dead will be remembered in story and song. The battle is going to be the end of a world filled with the horror that is Alpha Keith and the Flatlands pack, but the cost is going to be high. I pray everyone is ready. Chapter 16. The Calm Before the Storm. While the different packs prepare to wage war, Xander and I spend the time together. He is often busy as the alpha heir, but always manages to include me in his day. He strongly resembles his dad, tall, broad with dark eyes and hair. Given his size and constantly brooding expression, Xander often looks angry or displeased, so tries to smile whenever possible, wanting his pack to respect him, not fear him. He provides support to his father whenever needed, the planning and coordinating of such a large group requiring tremendous preparation. Xander and I go for strolls through the woods, watch the stars while on the swing, and the entire time we talk. Silences are rare but not uncomfortable, our conversation flowing easily from the beginning. Spending so much time together in such a short period of time, we go through the stages of courtship very quickly. Xander kissed me for the first time under the shine of the full moon, then told me how much he loves me. We make our own vows to one another, knowing that when it is official, there will be a large crowd watching. He holds me tight in his arms, my favorite place to be, and reassures me we will have a lifetime together when all of this is over. He knows I'm terrified. How can I not be? I've already lost so much to this monster that the concept of losing more is crippling. Part of me wishes I hadn't been found when I was, preferring a life of isolation to the joys and pains of having a pack again, having a family. I don't dwell on those ideas often, the selfishness shaming me. I'm introduced to the pack as the Luna heir, and again, the pack responds positively. Happy Xander and I found one another. No one grunts I'm a runt, and no one makes snarky remarks about my leg. Everyone instead congratulating us. We postpone the official ceremony until after the battle, the pack needing the reassurance of a strong, consistent alpha family right now. Until the moment Xander professed his feelings for me, I had remained living with Damon. I was ready to move in with Xander, as is the norm, but Damon was opposed. He never said anything, but his need for me to remain close was apparent, so Xander and I agreed to not push the point. We agree to move in together after the ceremony and battle, when we'll be able to move ahead without fear or hindrance. Damon reluctantly agrees to our plan, not wanting to ruin my happiness while also not sure how to handle his own feelings. Xander reassures me often that Damon will settle once the threat is over, and he no longer has to fear for me. I choose to believe him, not wanting to lose either of them from my life. Xander takes me on several dates during our few days of preparation. We have a picnic in the garden, go swimming in the community watering hole, and he cooks for me numerous times. Every moment together feels like we've always known one another, our easy comfort in one another's presence setting the tone for what will be our relationship. Support, security, safety, love, passion, friendship, a future with a man by my side who loves me for who I am and what I am, not in spite of it. Each minute leaves me wanting and needing more, the bond stretching invisibly between us, linking our hearts. In my dream, Damon is also in the future Xander and I build. He remains true, loyal, and loving, eagerly expanding his capacity for devotion when Xander and I begin our family. Each pup will build upon the love Xander and I have for one another, our commitment, our devotion, and our lives. Damon is always nearby. In our future, we never leave the other's side again. Finding one another after everything that happened is a gift neither of us is willing to forget. Someday, Damon will find his own true mate, and he'll show us all he's more than an exceptional uncle. He's an amazing dad. In my fantasies, I can hear my dad's words coming out of Damon's mouth, the wise and the nonsensical. We'll laugh louder and longer every day, moving forward while never forgetting the past. My parents will live on in our memories, and the stories we'll tell our children. They'll always respect and remember the tremendous loss our family suffered. After so much sorrow and grief, finding myself hoping for tomorrow seems like a risk. The life I've dreamt of and worked so hard to survive for is close, nearly at hand. The commitment ceremony, becoming Luna, one day becoming a mother and grandmother, all that time with Xander holding my hand, Damon at my back. To enjoy our future, we must first survive our present. Chapter 17. Unprepared. Malin has finally been able to get out again, her forced quarantine while my leg healed ending. She has been patient the whole time, not giving me guilt or attitude, but she is overjoyed all the same. Xander's wolf, Koa, is the true other half of Malin. She misses him when we're apart, and she swoons when we're together. She is anxious to complete the mating ceremony and exchange marks with 𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕, her heart already fully committed to them. The day started normally enough, with Damon and I eating a light breakfast in his cabin. I treasure our time together, knowing it will become less often once I become Luna and take on the workload. Damon tells me the latest about our preparations, sparing me the details of the extra steps being taken. Everyone is aware of the dark nature our enemy possesses, and his clear disregard for life only makes him more dangerous. As a warrior, Damon will be joining the forces attacking Flatlands, while I'll remain behind with the Luna and other non-combatants. 𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒍𝒊 is also going to fight while Alpha Richard remains behind, securing the safety of our land. I'm terrified to the point of paralysis, horrified at everything that can go wrong. Even if the battle is waged perfectly and successfully, there is still going to be tremendous loss of life. Alpha Keith runs his pack on fear and cruelty. It is likely everyone will fight whether they want to or not. Trying to spare as many as we can is going to be difficult, but thankfully, all of the alphas agree it is vital. Some will refuse salvation while others will go willingly, still others eagerly. A pack filled with suspicion and brutality is not one where loyalty is freely given and cooperation doesn't necessarily mean complicity. I can imagine the extents I would go to if it meant keeping Damon or 𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒍𝒊 safe, and the same is surely true for many of the Flatlands pack. I am nearly back to full strength, so when 𝒍𝒂𝒚𝒍𝒊 and Damon are busy with meetings or training, I make my way back to the kitchen. I learn about the favorite recipes of the pack and share my specialty of blood orange loaves. I decide to make a large batch, hoping it will be a nice treat before reality roars back in. There are a handful of us working, everyone doing something different, while all striving towards the same goal. There is a radio playing softly in the background, and two of the older volunteers are singing into their spatulas as a golden oldie comes on. Everyone laughs in camaraderie, and for the first time since everything happened, I'm truly relaxed. Malin is thrilled with our new life, pleased and proud of our wonderful mate. Her friendship with Kenner, Damon's wolf, is stronger than ever. Her and I are both hesitant to be overly joyful, fearing the darkness of the universe will remember us and return. I hum along contentedly to the music, not knowing the song but enjoying the atmosphere. As I'm slicing my oranges, Alpha Richard shouts into the mind link, alerting everyone at once that our pack is under attack. In the blink of an eye, I'm teleported back in time to the helpless feeling I had the first time this happened. The sights, sounds, and smells of that day overwhelm my senses, my legs shaking violently, threatening to collapse. Someone grabs my hand and forcefully pushes me down some steep stairs, others in front and behind me. There are sobs and wails of fright from the pups while wives and mothers scan the safe room with vacant eyes. A crowd of us retreat to safety, the doors and walls extra thick to prevent unwanted entry. Sounds are dulled as they travel through the thickness, but shouts and screams still manage to penetrate. Everyone retreats to the far wall, opposite the door, and begin to settle. The adults are trying to keep the pups distracted through songs and games, while others take a vigilant stand at the door.
I'm so new to the pack that I don't know many names, but I feel compelled to offer consolation wherever I can. My efforts are welcomed as my role as their future Luna offers them comfort and security. The Luna is also here and doing much the same, both of us pretending to be strong and sure while terrified of the worst. Sons, daughters, husbands, wives, fathers, and mothers capable of fighting will eagerly and willingly step forward, desperate to save everyone while sparing no one.
For several long minutes, maybe hours, The room is quiet except for whispers and sobs. A feeling enters my chest that is all too familiar, the acidic knife sharpening its blade against my heart. I scream through the mind link, but no one responds, everyone busy with their own concerns. I stand up and scramble to the door, pushing members aside who try to stop me. Malin surges forward, her desperation blinding her to the kindness surrounding us. Despite numerous hands trying to hold me back or hold the door closed, I work to forcefully wrench it open. Ah! I can hear sounds of wailing and pitiful shouts and am shocked to realize the noises are coming from me. An elderly man at the door steps forward, looking down at me with kindness and understanding. He tells everyone to let me go, then turns and opens the door. I race out quickly, barely registering the soft click of the door closing behind me.
I run through the pack house, ignoring the chaos already threatening to encroach. I don't hesitate, leaving the building and heading the direction my instinct is sending me. Malin scans around us constantly, trying to maintain awareness of the violence in my area.
I don't have to go far into the woods when I first hear his voice, then feel the pain in my body. On wooden legs, I walk to him, tears already falling freely down my face. I ignore his nudity, instead keeping my eyes on his. I caress his cheek and feel his tears, both of us knowing this is goodbye. I want to beg him to keep fighting, to not leave me, anything to convince him to stay, but no words leave my lips. I lean forward and kiss him on the forehead, fighting hard to stay strong for him. His eyes are full of love for me, while pinched with the pain flowing through his body. I know he's bleeding, and it isn't slowing down, likely Silver. Not even his wolf will be able to save him. The damage deep and devastating. The black hole of loss blooms in my chest, eagerly trying to drag me back into the abyss. My brain is in denial, refusing to accept that life is truly this cruel. I'll be okay, I promise, I whisper to him, knowing the words he needs to hear. I verbally release him from his perceived duties and obligations as the grip of his hand grows weaker. Love you, Nugget, he whispers before closing his eyes. His hand drops from mine, the strength and intention forever lost. Malin breaks into howls, the pain tearing apart the scarred tissue of my soul. I collapse on his body, ignoring the blood seeping into my clothes. My body shudders with wave after wave of despair, my heart forever broken. I don't hear the voices and violence around me anymore, my despondency bleeding from every cell. I don't worry about being hurt or killed. So far removed from reality that those concerns don't even register with me. The tears are flowing heavily and rapidly, as if my own body isn't able to contain my sorrow. I feel numb all over, like an insulative layer of cotton is wrapped around my body. I'm here, but I'm not. I was found, but am now again lost. I feel arms move around my body, wrapping me in their security. I'm lifted from the ground and don't resist as my entire body collapses from emotional exhaustion. I know the smell and I know the touch. My future. He starts to turn away, leading me toward home. I dare one more look at the last connection to my past, his green eyes already fading from his absence. Damon, my one and only, my supporter, my shield, my savior, my friend. As Xander walks us into the woods, I turn my head. The shell I'm leaving behind is no longer my brother. His soul and Kenner's soul already returned to the side of the moon goddess. I close my eyes and allow my heart to weep, tucking my face into the bare chest of the man I love. I've lost it all from my past. Nothing remains. There is nothing to show where I've been, and who I've lost. beyond the emptiness in my core. The rest exists in my mind and my heart. The family and friends who deserved better will forever be alive for me. Losing Damon means not needing to go back, instead focusing on the future I was spared for. My heart is broken and my soul aches with grief, while also feeling the love and support of Xander, his heart speaking directly to mine. It is only because of Xander and Koa am I even able to think about tomorrow or the day after, our future bright and promising. I'll never forget who I was or where I came from, but life's lessons have forced me to change. Malin and I will never be warriors, but we can still be valuable and wanted, our past not dictating what our future will look like. My heart is broken, and it feels like I'll never be able to smile again, but with Xander and the pack supporting me, the future can be exactly what we want it to be. Chapter 18. Endings and Beginnings. The battle was mostly over by the time I had run out, the Flatlands pack attempting to wipe out Mountain Range before we came after them. Nearby allies had raced to our aid, and together, our forces eliminated Alpha Keith and his fighters. None were spared. Any survivors were killed, then left in the woods. They never gave mercy to the victims they brutally attacked, and they were given none at the end. Our joined alliance suffered many casualties. Everyone left behind hurt by the loss of someone they loved or knew. The Flatlands came with silver-tipped blades, not relying on their brute strength alone to dominate their victims. It was a silver-tipped knife that punctured Kenner's abdomen, forever physically destroying his heart. Unable to maintain his form, he conceded to Damon, allowing us our goodbye. I'm told Damon and Kenner died heroes, stopping 3 opposing warriors from abusing one of our isolated female fighters. Even fighting for their lives, the evil within them persisted, demanding satisfaction before blood. Damon killed them all before being attacked from behind, the knife piercing his body and forever condemning him. He hung on until he saw me one last time, knowing how hard his death was going to be for me. Xander held me tightly as the clouds clashed overhead, varying shades of gray swirling like shadows. The wind howls incessantly, as if Mother Nature herself is in mourning. There are 2 rows of pyres in front of us, each one hosting the body of one of our lost. Damon is near the end, his pyre appearing too small for a spirit so large. The pack has encircled the dead, each of us connected to everyone else through our shared sorrow. Voices are soft and the weeping never-ending, all of us in misery. A council elder softly says words of gratitude and appreciation, strength and bravery, love and devotion. He speaks of no individual death, instead speaking of all of them at once. The stories will vary, but the courage remains. Heroes lost in a battle they never asked for but fought regardless. When he talks about the pain of loss, he reassures everyone present that while the pain will forever persist, it won't always sting. Yes, sometimes the memories will be sad, filled with heartache and regret. Eventually, the memories will become therapy, allowing us to move forward while keeping our loved one close. We'll be able to think of our family with happiness instead of sorrow. Our hearts will swell with joy and pride, not always with unshed tears of pain. The day will come, the day will come, the day will come. I know he's right, but as I watch the smoke from the lit pyres dissipate into the night sky, I fear that for me, he's wrong. Surviving the loss of my parents was a major blow to my system, and now, losing Damon, how am I expected to get out of bed tomorrow? How am I expected to provide comfort to my pack when I'm at a loss for how to survive the hurt myself? Will I ever smile again? Will Malin and I ever enjoy a day that doesn't include weeping and heartache? Xander stays by my side as I watch Damon slowly disappear, his pyre burning bright. I imagine Kenner being released and allowed to roam the heavens while Damon returns to the warm and loving embrace of our parents. I lean into Xander, needing his strength. I close my eyes and allow good memories to flood through, moments from our childhood and beyond. I was blessed with two parents who loved me more than life itself, and a brother who thought I hung the moon. Their not being here now doesn't change the past or the joy the memories left with me. I let Xander lead me from the pyres, only small bits of wood and ash remaining. The air is pungent with death, and I know I'll never forget the smell. I turn my back on what remains of my brother, his soul already released, his body no longer feeling pain. Xander and I walk towards what is now my cabin, still outfitted with Damon's toiletries and clothes. We'll have our commitment ceremony sometime soon, but for now, the pack needs to grieve. This cabin will provide sanctuary until the time Xander and I move in together. I sit in the rocking chair, while Xander sits at my feet on the stairs. His hands caress my legs, both of us needing the comfort of the other's touch. Neither says a word, the silence of the dark like an enveloping hug. I cry softly, letting myself fully feel everything from the past months. There is a tremendous black hole in my chest, threatening to smother my heart in scorching tar. Instead of focusing on what is causing so much hurt, I turn my thoughts to what I have left. Xander.
His commitment to me has never wavered, and his strength through my loss has been the one anchor keeping me from slipping away forever. His love for me ensures he only wants the best, and the same is true for me. The loss of my family and pack will always haunt me, a permanent piece of my being forever destroyed. With Xander, however, I don't fear tomorrow and the pain that will come with it. I'll face it head on, knowing Xander has my back and will never let me down. Tomorrow, the day after and the day after that, with Xander by my side, there's nothing we can't survive. Chapter 19. A Life Worth Fighting For. Xander and I had our commitment ceremony 4 months after the invasion, with most of our pack in attendance. We don't fault the ones who were unable to attend, still coping with their losses. We keep it small and simple, only our pack in attendance, rather than hosting a gala. The pack needs to move forward, and in time, we will, but hosting visitors during this tumultuous time would only stress everyone out further. When Xander takes on the role of Alpha in the new year, we'll host a large celebration then. Alpha Richard has set the date for his retirement, no longer eager to bear the weight. His beautiful mate is excitedly looking forward to it, as they'll be able to spend more time together. They're both hopeful there will be pups in the near future, and make no secret of it, not pushing while encouraging. Xander and I had agreed to wait on children, considering how young I was when we met. I intended to spend the time working with his mother and learning the responsibilities I would soon be undertaking. The universe, however, doesn't care about plans, and within months, I discovered I was pregnant. Once Xander and I had our commitment ceremony, there was a few weeks where we couldn't be apart. Our closeness and confidence in one another helped us discover how wonderful intimacy between lovers can be, the connection of body and mind. Learning we had created a child, regardless of the timing, made my heart soar with glee. Malin is instantly hyped, running in circles while leaping freely. I was nervous to tell Xander, afraid he would be upset it is happening so much sooner than we planned. I shouldn't have worried. his joy and excitement bursting out of him as a shout of glee. He took me into his arms carefully, as if afraid I would break. The kiss he gave me was filled with the words and emotions he was unable to express himself: gratitude, appreciation, love. He rested his hands on my still flat belly, then kneeling to talk to the baby.
The weeks that followed were difficult, the pregnancy proving to be dangerous because of my small size. I was forced into bed rest for the last 2 months, only leaving the bed when Xander would carry me to the bathroom. He brought up my meals on trays, had someone stay with me when he was busy with pack affairs, and consistently brought me new magazines and puzzle books to help me pass the time.
I went into the hospital ward for a scheduled surgery, my body unable to deliver our baby vaginally. The whole procedure took only minutes, and before Xander had time to pass out on the floor, our son was born. He was large, nearly 8 pounds of fury and passion.
Naming him was simple, as we both wanted to honor the same person, Damon. My brother will forever be kept alive through our son, ensuring his importance is never allowed to fade. His middle name is Thomas, in memory of the father who was taken from us too soon. Several years in the future, Damon will take over from Xander as the alpha for Mountain Range. His education will start young, but Xander and I both promised that he would still be allowed to be a kid. A strong foundation will make him an exceptional leader like his father and grandfather. It is a legacy to be proud of. Given the difficulty of my first pregnancy, Xander was not interested in doing it again, his fear and care for my well-being usurping any desires for additional children. We practiced safe S3X, and I still became pregnant, this time almost immediately sent to bed rest. I gained weight fast, becoming even larger than I was when pregnant with Damon. My appetite was insatiable, both for food and my mate.
It was while enjoying an intimate moment with my mate that I went into labor, and only moments later, we welcomed our daughters. My childhood dream had become my reality. With no time for an epidural, the labor was painful and exhausting. Xander talked me through the whole thing, encouraging me, supporting me, expressing endless gratitude. The expression in his eyes when our first little girl was born was one of awe, love at first sight. He didn't leave my side as our second daughter entered the world, crying loudly and angrily. We never really discussed names because I think we always knew who our daughters were going to honor. The choice was simple. Our firstborn daughter is named Laura, for Xander's mom. Laura is quiet, affectionate, and nurturing, just like her grandmother. Our baby's name is Kay, for my mom. Every time we say her name, the memories come forth, now all good and no longer agonizing. Kay is outgoing and loud, every new day a reason to celebrate. My mom will never know her grandchildren, but they'll know of her and my dad, how their love for me was unwavering. As if coming full circle, Damon is extremely protective of his sisters. Xander and I joke that we'll never have to worry about boys and dating, as Damon will keep everyone in line. I see so much of my brother in my son, the kindness and unfiltered love. Every time I look into his eyes, I see the spirit of my brother reflecting back, forever present and watchful. During all the chaos of having our family, Xander became alpha for the Mountain Range pack. Richard couldn't retire fast enough once Damon was born, both he and Laura happily involved in our children's lives. The love of our family is beyond anything I dreamed possible. Especially after everything was torn from me. I feared for so long that all of my life's joy and happiness was used up at Clear Falls, that I was never meant for more.
Finding Damon again let me believe that a future was possible despite the horrors of the past. Meeting Xander fulfilled all of my dreams, including ones I didn't even know I had. Intimacy, companionship, friendship, love, and support. Xander is my all. Our children are blessings I never even imagined. His love for me a consistently safe port amidst the chaos and the calm. The bond connected us, but our love is built on much more. Respect, consideration, and admiration. The unity we share is now a family, visual proof of our mutual adoration for each other. I know life will continue to put obstacles in our path, but together, there is nothing we can't overcome. The future no longer frightens me. My doubts faded by Xander's confidence. I have come a long ways, seen things I can't unsee, and experienced emotions I'd rather forget. Instead of tearing me down, I grew stronger. I survived, I thrived, and I couldn't be happier. And that brings us to the end of this story. Thank you for listening all the way through. We hope this audiobook kept you entertained and left you wanting more. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what kind of stories you'd like to hear next. There are plenty more full audiobooks waiting for you here, so be sure to check out the channel for your next great listen. Until next time, happy listening.